Chapter 344. Meow was only the size of 2 fists, and a piece of top-grade spirit stone was the size of a fist. Meow was not content and seemed to want to hug the two of them together, which was very cute. Meow is so cute. Zizi smiled. Perhaps it was because Zizi was also very friendly to Meow. Yang Chuan stepped forward slightly, and Zizi retreated slightly. However, seeing Yang Chuan's determined eyes, Zizi's eyes moistened. She did not insist and allowed Yang Chuan to come within 2 feet of her. "Let's sit by the lake for a while more," Yang Chuan said. "Okay." Zizi nodded. The two walked back to the dock together. Zizi left a small red comb on the dock. Sitting beside the comb, Yang Chuan followed Zizi's example. He took off his shoes and put his feet in the lake. Sitting on the dock, he slightly stirred the lake water. Seeing Yang Chuan's actions, Zizi was touched. She did not know when it started, but she had hoped that there would be someone who would quietly accompany her like this. In the past, everyone avoided her. Now, there was finally someone who did not avoid her. Her husband. Zizi's eyes were filled with a sense of peaceful satisfaction. Just like Yang Chuan, she took off her shoes and put them in the water. Sitting by the lake, they sat quietly for a while. "I heard from Zhujiansheng that you've been living here all these years. You don't go out much?" Yang Chuan asked softly. "Yes." Zizi nodded. "There's no one around here, not even a maid. Don't you feel lonely living here alone? Why don't you live in the downtown area? At least you can see a lot of people." Yang Chuan asked. Zizi bit her lips and was silent for a while. Finally, she shook her head and said, "I like being alone. It's quieter." "Really?" Yang Chuan asked. Zizi was silent and did not say anything. Taking a deep breath, Yang Chuan said softly, "Don't worry. With me here, you won't be lonely again." "Yes," Zizi said softly. The two of them just sat there like that. At this moment, silence spoke louder than word. 1,000 words and 10,000 words are not enough to sit together. Just as Zizi was feeling the warmth of his heart. Suddenly, a red light fell from the sky and went straight into the center of the lake. Boom! The center of the lake exploded in all directions. Yes. Yang Chuan's expression changed. Someone was coming to attack. He was about to stand up. "It's someone I know. It's fine," Zizi immediately said. "Oh." Yang Chuan felt relieved. At the center of the lake, a woman in red was standing there. Her red robe was shaped like a cheongsam, and it wrapped around her voluptuous figure. Her red hair was draped over her shoulders, and her exquisite face revealed a faint heroic spirit. Her clothes fluttered as she stood on the surface of the lake. She looked like a goddess in the water. It was extremely eye-catching. "Who are you? Why are you in the Purple Heart Mountain Villa?" The red-clothed woman immediately frowned and looked at Yang Chuan. "I am Zizi's husband." "Who are you?" Yang Chuan asked in a deep voice. "Husband? Yang Chuan? You are Yang Chuan?" The red-clothed woman was slightly surprised. "Zizi, is it because of him that you are unwilling to go back with me?" The red-clothed woman frowned and looked at Zizi. "Let me ask you. Who are you?" Yang Chuan asked again. Zizi immediately looked at Yang Chuan and said, "Her name is Meng Hongying. She is my cousin." "Cousin? Meng Hongying?" Yang Chuan said in surprise. "Zizi has a cousin?" Yang Chuan looked at Zizi in surprise. In Yang Chuan's impression, Zizi was the only one. How could she have a cousin? "A month ago. I just found out." Zizi smiled bitterly. "So it's true." Yang Chuan frowned. "It was mentioned in the letter that my father left me. My parents are from the Meng family, but they broke a taboo and were expelled from the family. They are not allowed to use the surname Meng," Zizi said bitterly. "Broke a taboo? Expelled from the family?" Yang Chuan was surprised. "My parents are cousins. Maybe it's retribution. They shouldn't be together, but they got together and gave birth to me. I cursed them to death," Zizi explained bitterly. Chapter 345. Yang Chuan fell silent after hearing Zizi's explanation. "Zizi, why are you telling him so much? I'm here to bring you back." Grandfather has forgiven your parents. Moreover, they are dead. Come back with me, Meng Hongying said. Go back. What have you been doing all these years? Yang Chuan's face darkened. If Zizi was alone, it would have been fine. But now, they found out that there was a family behind Zizi. Since there was a family, why did this family ignore Zizi all these years? Me. Us. Do you think it's easy to bring Zizi's parents back? Grandpa has just become the head of the family and obtained the divine throne. If he had brought Zizi's parents back earlier, the elders in the family would have killed them. Grandpa is protecting Zizi's parents, Meng Hongying shouted. Oh! Yang Chuan's face softened. I've been investigating in Carefree City for the past few days. Zizi, you've been wronged all these years. Come back with me. No one will hate you when you're home. Everyone will respect you and you'll have enough power. You can do whatever you want, Meng Hongying persuaded. Zizi shook her head and said, I think it's a good idea. Meng Hongying was stunned. What's so good about being hated by those ignorant people? If it were me, I would have gone crazy. Wait, is it because of him? Meng Hongying turned and looked at Yang Chuan, who was sitting beside Zizi. Zizi remained silent. She did not say anything, but she was sure of it. Meng Hongying stared at Yang Chuan and squinted her eyes. Level 5 Essence Realm? Yang Chuan? Aren't you afraid of death? Meng Hongying asked. Death? Why would I die? Yang Chuan smiled. Don't you know about Zizi's curse? Anyone who dares to come close will be in trouble. Don't you know? Meng Hongying said. Zizi's expression froze and a trace of impatience flashed in her eyes. She then took a deep breath and remained silent, as if she was waiting for Yang Chuan's answer. Zizi is my wife, why can't I get close to her? Aren't I close now? Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Meng Hongying frowned. Indeed, Yang Chuan was right beside Zizi. Chimph, let me tell you. You're not worthy of Zizi. Don't you dare. Meng Hongying shouted. But halfway through, Zizi interrupted him. Meng Hongying. Zizi shouted. Meng Hongying was slightly surprised. That's my business. It's none of your business, Zizi said in a low voice. Meng Hongying looked at Zizi anxiously. Zizi, let me tell you, there are no good men in this world. He's just using you. Meng Hongying shouted. Enough. Zizi said angrily. All right, let's not talk about this. I have another question for Yang Chuan. Meng Hongying said anxiously. After all, they were cousins. Zizi did not object this time. Yang Chuan, I know about Zizi's curse. Those who do evil to Zizi will be cursed immediately. Those who do good to Zizi will also be cursed, but it will be weaker and will be delayed for a period of time. You're sitting beside Zizi and I think you're trying to touch her. You're up to no good, Meng Hongying said coldly. So? Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Since you want to be Zizi's husband, do you dare to touch her? If you don't, then you must be up to something, Meng Hongying said coldly. Chapter 346. Meng Hongying. Zizi's eyes flashed with anger. Ulterior motives? Hehe, Zizi is my wife. What am I after? What do you want from the Meng family? I didn't know anything about the Meng family before today. Besides, Zizi is my wife. Why should I be afraid? Yang Chuan said lightly. As she spoke, she grabbed the red comb at the side and grabbed Zizi's beautiful hair. Don't. Zizi cried out. It doesn't matter. I, Yang Chuan, am blessed with good fortune. I'm not afraid of curses. Let me comb your hair for you. Yang Chuan gently shook his head. Reaching out, Yang Chuan touched Zizi's beautiful purple hair. Grabbing the red comb, Yang Chuan gently combed Zizi's hair. As the comb brushed across her scalp and her hair, Zizi seemed to be stunned. I said it's fine. Yang Chuan smiled. Zizi's eyes immediately moistened. His eyes flashed with an indescribable emotion. How dare you? Meng Hongying was stunned. Rumble. 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 All of a sudden, dark clouds gathered in the sky, rolling over and rumbling above Yang Chuan's head. The massive black cloud instantly covered Worry-Free City in darkness. You came. Here it comes. Endless thunder. Heaven's wrath. Meng Hongying looked at the sky in surprise. For a moment, countless cultivators in Worry-Free City raised their heads to look at the sky. They stared in shock at the dark clouds that suddenly gathered in the sky. What's going on? Was this the heavenly tribulation? Who is transcending the tribulation? What tribulation is this? 49 heavenly tribulations? So big. No, the 59 heavenly tribulation seems to be even greater. My God, how is this possible? All of the Xiozhi in Carefree City looked at the sky in terror. Who? In all directions of the Worry-Free City, raging winds blew, as though the end of the world had arrived. Countless people were terrified. Rumble. In the airspace above the Worry-Free City, a gigantic blue dome suddenly appeared, covering the top of the city, as though it was preparing to block the rolling tribulation clouds. How is that possible? The Carefree City's array automatically defended itself. That means that only those who possess sufficient strength to destroy Worry-Free City would be able to do so. What tribulation is this? It can't be divine retribution, right? Countless Xiozhi were terrified. The rolling tribulation clouds were filled with a boundless aura of destruction. A large number of cultivators broke into a run in terror, fleeing out of Worry-Free City. It was too terrifying. Such a huge tribulation cloud. Purple Heart Villa. The sky was dark, and a fierce wind blew in the Purple Heart Mountain Villa. Almost everyone was stunned. Meng Hongying could sense that the tribulation clouds were targeting her. Yang Chuan? Were they targeting Yang Chuan? Divine retribution? Meng Hongying was stunned. This is too exaggerated. This cousin is too exaggerated. Divine retribution? Yang Chuan also stared blankly at the sky. It's just a small hairstyle. Is there a need to go so far? What kind of stance was this? What kind of stance was this? Why was it so similar to Immortal's tribulation? It was just combing her hair, just a small one. No, get out of the way. Zizi pushed Yang Chuan away in fear. The red comb fell to the ground. Zizi was so frightened that she started crying. She wasn't crying for herself, because she knew that no matter how big the tribulation was, she would be fine. It was because of Yang Chuan. Because Yang Chuan combed her hair, the divine retribution was here. The divine retribution was targeted at Yang Chuan. No. Zizi screamed at the sky. However, the divine retribution didn't stop. It seemed to be getting bigger and bigger, and the dark clouds were getting thicker. The thunder was getting louder and louder, as though the heavens were angry. Chapter 347. No, don't. Zizi said anxiously. Meow. Meow, who was sitting on the stone table not far away, immediately stood up. Meow let go of the supreme grade spirit stone in her hand and looked up at the sky. Meow. Meow. Meow roared at the sky. It was as if she wanted to use her aura to suppress the heavenly punishment, but she did not seem to have any aura at all. Meow. Meow quickly jumped onto Yang Chuan's shoulder. Meow. Meow tilde 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 tilde. The last meow of the cat suddenly soared into the sky, piercing through the clouds and mist, and instantly rushed into the tribulation clouds. Meow. His meow echoed in the dark clouds. However, it was this cute meow that caused the angry tribulation clouds to slowly stop roaring. Rumble. Meow. 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 Amidst the meow, the raging tribulation clouds strangely retreated. More and more of them retreated. The city defense array of Carefree City also slowly dissipated. Countless cultivators of Carefree City looked up at the sky in confusion. What kind of joke is this? It's gone just like that. It's not the tribulation. Did the heavens recognize the wrong person? The cultivators were conflicted. This was toying with their emotions. The tribulation clouds retreated in the blink of an eye. More and more dark clouds dispersed. Gradually, they completely disappeared. The sky cleared up in the blink of an eye. Occasionally, two birds would fly by. It was as if everyone had just had a dream. Purple Heart Villa. As the ones who had experienced it personally, Yang Chuan, Meng Hongying, and Zizi felt it the most. They were about to explode, but a kitten's meow disappeared. Meng Hongying looked at Meow. This kitten? Meng Hongying's face stiffened. You're the kitten. Your whole family are kittens. Meow was angry again. Ugh. Meng Hongying choked on Meow's scolding. Yang Chuan looked at Meow with surprise in his eyes. It was an unexpected surprise. Fighting against the heavens? Where did Meow come from? It's too fierce. Yang Chuan had known that Meow would be extraordinary since he'd picked it up from the Immortal's tomb, but this was too extraordinary. Meow, thank you. I still have 3 top-grade spirit stones in the shop. I'll give them to you together, Zizi said excitedly. Meow, meow, meow. Meow squinted its eyes in excitement. Meng Hongying frowned and said, Zizi, this is Yang Chuan's luck. If you remove the mask, then... Zizi turned its head and looked at Meng Hongying coldly. Meng Hongying stopped talking when she saw the anger in Zizi's eyes. Meng Hongying, I only allowed you to stay because of your bloodline. You've already angered me. If you say anything bad about Yang Chuan again, I'll teach you a lesson, Zizi said coldly. Meng Hongying's face stiffened. Humph. Meng Hongying snorted at Yang Chuan. She swung her ribbon and flew into the sky. She flew away in the blink of an eye. Mask? Can't I remove the mask? Yang Chuan asked curiously. Zizi shook her head and said, it's not that you can't remove it. The mask is used to suppress the curse. Once you remove it, the curse will be twice as strong. Then, Yang Chuan was interrupted by Zizi before he could say anything. I don't want to remove it. Don't remove it, okay? Zizi asked. Okay. Yang Chuan took a deep breath and nodded. One day, I'll remove the mask for you, Yang Chuan said seriously. Okay. Zizi's eyes flashed with satisfaction. But this time, you came close to me and even combed my hair. Although Meow has solved the heavenly tribulation, there might still be bad luck. There might still be, Zizi said worriedly. Chapter 348. Inside King Yi Mu's residence. City Lord Zheng Hong sent an invitation. King Yi Mu looked at the golden invitation in his hand in silence. A group of disciples stood in front of him. Master, is this a welcoming banquet for Yang Chuan? Liu Gang smiled. Yes, it's just as you thought. King Yi Mu nodded. Of course. When I was young, I also used this method. The territory controlled by the Life League is a fat piece of meat. The Triyu sect is trying to force Yang Chuan to give up on this piece of meat. Liu Gang sneered. Force Yang Chuan to give up? Is that possible? Dan Qingzi frowned. Nothing is impossible. Didn't the Triyu sect snatch the city lord's position in a fit of anger? Liu Gang sneered. Then will Yang Chuan give up? Dan Qingzi asked curiously. Probably not. Although I haven't interacted much with Yang Chuan, I know that he's not one to let himself be taken advantage of. Moreover, he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Let's watch them bite each other when the time comes. Liu Gang smiled. King Yi Mu looked at his new disciple, Liu Gang, with satisfaction. Originally, he only accepted Liu Gang as a disciple to make use of him. After all, Liu Gang's aptitude was too weak. But now, it seemed that this disciple was quite useful. All right, let's wait and see. King Yi Mu nodded. Noon of the second day. Yang Chuan brought Zizi, Hua Guang, Liu Jin, Zhu Jiansheng, and the 7 swordsmen to the center of Carefree City. As for Meow, she was sleeping in the King of Hell's palace. They stood in a huge plaza and looked at the floating island a few hundred feet in the air. The island was surrounded by clouds and mist, making it look like a fairyland. Mountains can float in the air, Liu Jin exclaimed. This is called the floating island. There's only one in Carefree City. It cost a lot to build this island. There are countless arrays on it, and it's also the place with the most yuan qi in Carefree City. It's also the city lord's mansion, Zhu Jiansheng explained. In front of everyone, there was a man leading the way. Everyone, the city lord and the 3 hall masters are already waiting for you at the city lord's mansion. Please go up. The man who led the way said respectfully. Zhu Jiansheng. Yang Chuan said indifferently. Yes, Marshal Uncle, don't worry. Zhu Jiansheng immediately shouted. Zhu Jiansheng and the 7 swordsmen suddenly emitted a powerful aura, which formed a wall of qi under their feet. The qi wall slowly lifted everyone up into the air. Clouds surrounded them as if they were stepping on a cloud. It slowly flew towards the floating island's city lord mansion. There were many palaces on the floating island. Laughter could be heard coming from the largest hall of the Ashoka Hall. Ha ha ha, he's here. Yang Chuan doesn't even know how to fly. He still needs Zhu Jiansheng and the others to carry him. Ha ha ha. Play the music, continue, ha ha, phew. Yang Chuan and the rest finally reached the floating island. Standing on a huge platform, they looked at the surrounding clouds and the splendid palaces. From here, they could overlook the entire carefree city. The view here is really wide, Hu Guang exclaimed. Yang Chuan slowly walked towards the center of the Ashoka Hall. There were originally many guards around the Ashoka Hall. Each of them was arrogant, as if they were prepared to take Yang Chuan down a notch. However, when Yang Chuan approached, the guards were dumbfounded. This was because there was a lady beside Yang Chuan. A lady that none of the guards dared to offend, Miss Z. Why is Miss Z here too? Chapter 349. Why didn't anyone tell me that Miss Z is coming? That jinx is here. Senior brother, what should we do? Do we still need to block them? Block my ass. Block them if you want. The guards quickly moved aside and looked at ZZ and Yang Chuan in horror. Zhu Jiansheng and the rest were pleased with themselves. When they got closer, they heard the sound of musical instruments coming from Ashoka Hall. Before they even entered, they could see women in gauze dancing. Me. ZZ snorted. She invited Yang Chuan to a banquet but did not come out to greet him. Instead, she enjoyed herself. It was obvious that she wanted to embarrass Yang Chuan. ZZ was naturally uncomfortable. It's fine. Yang Chuan smiled. Yang Chuan was the first to step into the hall. The rest followed Yang Chuan into the hall. The singing and dancing continued. The people in the hall seemed to not see Yang Chuan and the rest as they were intoxicated by the singing and dancing. Yang Chuan entered the hall and stood there quietly. Then, he took a look at everything in the hall. A man in a luxurious robe sat on the main seat in the north. Behind him stood a few subordinates. The one sitting on the main seat is the mayor, Zheng Hong, ZZ said. Millimeter. There were 2 rows of seats in the hall. There were 2 main seats in each row and a few secondary seats behind them. The one on the upper left is the High Serenity Sect's sect leader. The one on the upper right is the Low Serenity Sect's sect leader. The one on the lower left. ZZ explained. I know, King Mui. Yang Chuan smiled. The empty seats on the lower right should be ours, ZZ said. Millimeter. Yang Chuan nodded. Yang Chuan looked at the group of people. Everyone in the hall had noticed Yang Chuan as well. However, in order to embarrass Yang Chuan, no one said anything and pretended not to know. ZZ snorted and stepped forward. Ah! The group of dancers screamed and dodged. The dancers had naturally seen ZZ long ago, but they hadn't received any instructions. Now that they saw ZZ walking over, they naturally turned pale with fright and hurriedly dodged. With this dodge, everyone could no longer keep up the act. Ha 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 ha, so it's Day Sect's Peak Master Tian. Apologies for not going out to meet you. Forgive me, forgive me. Zheng Hong stood up and said with a smile. Yang Chuan smiled and said, I'll pardon you. Ah. Zheng Hong's face stiffened. Forgive me, I was just being polite. Do you really want to take advantage of me? Pardon me? So Miss Z is here too. Zheng Hong immediately turned his gaze to ZZ. Seeing that Zheng Hong deliberately ignored him again, Yang Chuan also smiled slightly and walked naturally to the empty seat at the side. ZZ followed beside Yang Chuan, while Zhu Jiansheng and the others walked to the second seat behind Yang Chuan. Ah. Zheng Hong asked for a snub, his expression extremely unsightly. Mayor, since you've invited me, I'll sit. Yang Chuan smiled and looked at Zheng Hong. Sit. Zheng Hong's face darkened. With a wave of his robe, Yang Chuan and ZZ sat in the main seats, while Zhu Jiansheng and the others sat in the second seat. Zheng Hong took a deep breath and slowly sat down. The faces of the sect leaders of the Yu sect also darkened. Only King Mui, who was sitting opposite Yang Chuan, looked indifferent. He drank his wine with surprise in his eyes. Yang Chuan is really bold and arrogant, Dan Qingzi whispered to his junior brothers. Yes, Master said that he's only at LV5 essence state. Isn't he courting death by provoking the mayor like this? Who asked him to bring Miss Z with him? Who dares to touch him? But I don't know why Miss Z is here. Chapter 350. Whispers could be heard all around. Yang Chuan, may I know why Miss Z is traveling with you? Zheng Hong looked at Yang Chuan and asked. Everyone fell silent. ZZ is my wife. You didn't say on the invitation that I can't bring a family member, did you? Yang Chuan smiled. Hey! Everyone's expression changed. Wife. Yang Chuan's wife. How could this be? Everyone looked at Yang Chuan in shock. It was as if they had seen the most ridiculous thing in the world. Who would want this jinx? Ha 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 ha, so it's Mrs. Yang. Congratulations. Zheng Hong raised his cup and laughed. Zizi felt a wave of comfort in her heart. After all, Yang Chuan said it in front of so many people. She raised her cup and returned Zheng Hong's toast. Yang Chuan, this is your first visit to Carefree City. It's only right for us 4 temple masters to hold a welcoming feast for you. Come, let's toast to Yang Chuan. Zheng Hong smiled. That's right. Good. The temple masters raised their cups. Yang Chuan smiled and raised his cup. If it's just a welcoming feast, then I, Yang Chuan, thank you very much. With that, everyone ended the toast. Haha, I've long heard that the Day sect's peak Lord Tian is a young hero. During the battle of the demonic wind mountain range, he single-handedly killed 6,000 Life Moon League disciples. Your name has spread far and wide. Zheng Hong laughed. City Lord is too polite. 6,000 elite realm cultivators. If City Lord wanted to kill them, wouldn't he be able to kill them with a flip of his hand? Yang Chuan smiled faintly. I've also heard that the Life Moon League was uprooted by your people. Zheng Hong chuckled. It's just luck. Yang Chuan smiled. Speaking of which, this Carefree City still has 1/6 of the Life Moon League's assets. Now that the Life Moon League has been uprooted, this assets will naturally be divided among the 5 sects. What do you think? Zheng Hong smiled. Sure enough, after 2 cups of wine, the real highlight of the show began. Whether it was King Yi Mu or the temple masters, all of them looked at Yang Chuan with rapt attention. Redistribution? City Lord's idea is good, but it is not easy to divide equally. What about the contracts that the Life Moon League and the city's cultivators made in the past? Yang Chuan said with a smile. Average. Yang Chuan was willing to share that territory. Everyone was overjoyed. Contract. Zheng Hong was slightly surprised. That's right. The duration of the contract is limited, and it's not easy to divide the gains and losses. In a short period of time, it's really hard to divide. I suggest that one sect be in charge first, and this sect be responsible for sorting out everything before dividing the contract. What do you think? Yang Chuan smiled. Overseer of a sect. Who do you think is in charge? Don't tell me it's your Day sect. The sect master of the Shangyo sect said coldly. No, the Day sect isn't good at this. I think it's best for the demon controlling sect to take charge first. Yang Chuan smiled. Hey! Everyone in the hall was stunned. Whoever controls it first will have the advantage. Yang Chuan actually let go of the Life League's territory. King Yi Mu was also stunned. Did this meat pie fall into his lap? What do you think, King Yi Mu? Yang Chuan looked at King Yi Mu with a smile. King Yi Mu took a deep breath. Of course, he had to agree. If he gave a false report, it was very likely that he could take over half of the Life League's territory. In fact, he could even refuse to give it up in the future. King Yi Mu was about to agree. Master, you can't. Liu Gang quickly stepped forward and pulled King Yi Mu back. King Yi Mu looked at Liu Gang with furrowed brows. Yang Chuan also looked at Liu Gang with a slightly surprised expression. Master. Liu Gang shook his head again with a serious expression. King Yi Mu's expression changed. After all, it wasn't easy to spit out a piece of meat that fell into his mouth. He took a few deep breaths and shook his head again. No, I don't have the time to take care of it. King Yi Mu immediately noticed that the gazes of the sect masters around him softened slightly. Softened. King Yi Mu immediately broke out in cold sweat. He had almost lost his mind just now. Since you don't have the time, I think. Zheng Hong was about to say something. Then let the High Serenity sect take care of it for now. Yang Chuan smiled again. Huh. Everyone was confused again. What was Yang Chuan planning? Pushing out the Life League's territory? Was he crazy? King Yi Mu also looked at Yang Chuan with a confused expression. Sect Master of the High Serenity sect, what do you think? I'll have to trouble you. Yang Chuan smiled. Ah, okay, no problem. The High Serenity sect's sect master agreed immediately. Zheng Hong and the High Serenity sect's sect master frowned, but they didn't object in the end. After all, the High Serenity sect was on their side. However, they were even more confused as they looked at Yang Chuan. Could it be that Yang Chuan was scared? Chapter 351. The Hall Masters stared blankly at Yang Chuan. They couldn't figure out Yang Chuan's intention. The Life League was uprooted by Yang Chuan. According to the rules of the cultivation world, Yang Chuan had the most authority over the Life League's properties. Previously, they had discussed for a long time how to make Yang Chuan give up the authority over the Life League's properties. But who would have thought that Yang Chuan was such a spendthrift? 1/6 of the Carefree City's tax revenue was enough to nourish a large sect. Give up. Throw it to the High Nether sect. Zheng Hong was originally prepared to launch an attack, but it was as if he had punched cotton. Ha 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 ha, the Day sect is indeed generous. Let's toast to Hall Master Yang. Zheng Hong laughed dryly. Great. Everyone raised their cups again. Yang Chuan smiled faintly and took a sip. Yang Chuan directly revealed the Life League's properties, making Zheng Hong's prepared speech useless. The atmosphere in the hall became awkward. Mayor, this wine seems to be of average quality, Yang Chuan said faintly. Oh. Zheng Hong didn't understand. It's a pity that it's not as good as the wine ZZ brought last time. ZZ, is that wine from your drunken Immortal inn? Yang Chuan turned to look at ZZ. Yes. ZZ nodded. Yang Chuan looked at Zheng Hong again and said, Mayor, since the matter is out in the open, thank you for your hospitality today. I will also take my leave. Hey! Everyone in the hall was stunned. How long has it been? 2 cups of wine and he's leaving? Yang Chuan is leaving? This banquet is too short. Of course, everyone was still shocked by the fact that Yang Chuan had given up the Life Alliance's property. They hadn't come back to their senses yet. Leave. The sect master of the Low Nether sect suddenly said, the banquet has just begun. If Lord Tianfeng leaves now, wouldn't that be saying that we didn't treat him well? Then what do you want? Yang Chuan smiled. Why don't we get someone to join in the drinking? The sect master of the Underworld sect laughed. How? Yang Chuan asked calmly. The sect master of the Serenity sect gave a look to the people behind him. Immediately, a black-robed man walked out. I am Chen Liu, a third-generation disciple of the Serenity sect. I heard that Hall Master Yang killed 6,000 elite realms from the Sun-Moon Alliance. I would like to ask Hall Master Yang for advice, the black-robed man said. Oh! Yang Chuan narrowed his eyes. He looked at the people around him. Did they send the elite realms to test him? The Hall Masters looked at them calmly and no one stopped them. After all, everyone wanted to know whether Yang Chuan's legend was true or not. Moreover, they could also test how powerful Yang Chuan was. Even if Chen Liu could not defeat him, the Divine Realm Warriors could save him. Hu Guang. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Hu Guang stepped forward. Tianfeng, Day Sect. I am an anonymous outer disciple, Hu Guang said. The Hall Masters frowned but did not say anything. You. Chen Liu said coldly. LV5 of the Elite Realm, Hu Guang. Hu Guang said solemnly. Chen Liu showed a hint of disdain. LV9 of the elite realm, Chen Liu, please. Hu Guang shouted. Come on. Chen Liu said disdainfully. Bang. Hu Guang's aura suddenly surged. Army destroyer, stabilizing the central plains. Hu Guang suddenly thrust his spear. Hu Guang instantly transformed into a gigantic phantom of a ferocious general. An indomitable aura gushed forth. The long spear in his hand was imbued with the might of a heaven-tier cultivation art, capable of stabilizing the central plains. Although his cultivation was a little lower, his strength soared to the extreme in an instant. Chen Liu's face changed as if he saw a huge mountain pressing down on him. Chapter 352. Impossible. Chen Liu raised his sword to block the attack. Kill. Hu Guang's murderous aura exploded. Boom. Chen Liu was instantly flung out and slammed into the door of the main hall. Fart. Chen Liu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Are you kidding me? Is this LV5 of the profound state? He is only at the early stage of the Qi state. Chen Liu had a lot to say, but he was speechless. Defeated in one move? The faces of all the hall masters trembled. They were going to test Yang Chuan and suppress Yang Chuan's arrogance so that he could keep a low profile in the future. You want to challenge my king with such strength? What a disgrace. Hu Guang said without holding back. Bastard, who told you to hurt my disciple? Another black-robed man said coldly. Palace Lord, is this your disciple? Yang Chuan said calmly. The Palace Lord's face darkened. Chen Liu represented the Palace Lord's reputation, but he was humiliated too quickly. Chen Shong, Chen Liu is not as strong as you, don't be rude. The Palace Lord said. Yes. Chen Shong frowned and nodded. Chen Shong looked at his injured disciple and said, I am Chen Shong, a second-generation disciple of the Palace Lord. I heard that Palace Lord Yang killed hundreds of Qi state cultivators in the Demon Wind Mountains. I don't believe it and would like to challenge Palace Lord Yang. Let me. Hu Guang said with a cold snort. Chen Shong looked at Hu Guang coldly and said, I know your strength. You are close to the Qi state. You are no match for me. I only asked Palace Lord Yang to challenge me, not you. Hu Guang said angrily. I'll do it. Zhu Jianxing immediately stood up. I said, I only want to challenge Palace Lord Yang. It has nothing to do with you, Zhu Jiansheng. Chen Shong continued. HMPH, Qi State Challenge? I will challenge you. Zizi said angrily. Chen Shong's face froze. Challenge Zizi? What a joke. No, I will only seek guidance from Hall Master Yang. Chen Shong shouted again. Zizi, sit down. Yang Chuan smiled. Okay. Zizi nodded obediently. Looking at the wine in his cup, Yang Chuan sighed softly. This wine tastes really bad. Zheng Hong's face stiffened. He was angry, but he didn't say anything. Now that Chen Shong wanted to test Yang Chuan's strength, he would naturally let him do as he wished. Yang Chuan put down his wine cup and said, Chen Shong, right? You're asking me for advice? Yes. Hall Master Yang, please use your sword. Chen Shong said solemnly. Draw my sword. You should know that I don't like to fight. When I use the Jade Emperor's sword, there must be blood. If I attack, people will die. Yang Chuan said indifferently. Chen Shong's face froze. He looked at the Underworld Sect's sect master. Seeing the Underworld Sect's sect master nod, he mustered his courage and said, even if I die, Chen Shong has no regret. Hall Master Yang, please advise me. Heh. Yang Chuan sneered. Hall Master Yang, please advise me. Chen Shong shouted again. All right, if you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Yang Chuan stood up slowly. Yang Chuan. Zizi said worriedly. No worries. Yang Chuan shook his head. The Underworld Sect's sect master clenched his fists. He was testing Yang Chuan. As long as Chen Shong showed signs of being defeated, the Underworld Sect's sect master would definitely save him. Yang Chuan walked slowly to the center of the hall and looked at Chen Shong, who was at the door. I'm going to draw my sword. Watch carefully. Yang Chuan sneered. Come. Chen Shong said solemnly. Yang Chuan's eyes widened and a fierce aura exploded. The emperor's will broke through the gate and rushed towards Chen Shong. In Chen Shong's eyes, he seemed to see a huge golden dragon rushing out from Yang Chuan's eyes. Chapter 353. Ang tilde 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 tilde. The golden dragon roared as its dragon might soared into the sky. Once the emperor golden dragon's will appeared, it was as if the heavenly might had rushed into one's mind. Boom. Chen Shong's mind buzzed as his consciousness went blank. Rumble. His mind went blank. Chen Shong was a Qi realm expert, not a strength realm mortal. Although Yang Chuan's will was strong, it couldn't shatter a person's soul like before. At most, it could only stun him for 2 breaths. However, in a battle between experts, these 2 breaths were enough to kill. Who? Yang Chuan stepped forward. Shiying. The Jade Emperor's sword instantly cut Chen Shong in half like a puppet. Boom. Chen Shong's body exploded as his organs splattered all over the ground. His blood flowed out as he died a horrible death. Ah! All the experts in the hall were at a loss. How is this possible? Is Chen Shong crazy? Why didn't he dodge? Why didn't he move? I thought Chen Shong would dodge. Is Chen Shong stupid? Chen Shong is dead. Everyone in the hall was confused. Yang Chuan, the sect master of Shio sect, stood up and shouted angrily. The sect master of Shio sect wanted to save Chen Shong, but only after the battle. Who would have thought that Chen Shong would die so directly? Yang Chuan ignored the sect master of Shio sect. After all, Chen Shong asked for death in front of everyone. He couldn't blame anyone. However, he died too quickly. ZZ, let's go. The wine here is too disgusting. Let's go to drunken Immortal Tavern for some good wine. Yang Chuan smiled at ZZ. ZZ nodded and followed Yang Chuan. Once Yang Chuan left, Zhujian Sheng, Hua Guang, Liu Jin, and the 7 swordsmen naturally followed. They didn't care about the others in Ashoka Hall and left directly. Everyone in the hall was left in silence. Looking at the internal organs scattered all over the ground and Yang Chuan's departing figure, Zheng Hong felt as if Yang Chuan had slapped him in the face and left without a second thought. The banquet ended on a sour note. Zhujian Sheng and the others used White Cloud to carry Yang Chuan and his group off the floating island and flew to a mountain peak in the distance. Zhujian Sheng looked back regretfully. Martial uncle, are we just going to hand over the Life Alliance's assets? Zhujian Sheng asked, feeling a little indignant. That's right, King. Why did you give it to the High Serenity sect? Hua Guang was also confused. Yang Chuan turned his head to look at the floating island and asked with a smile, Hua Guang, what do you think of this floating island? Supreme Highland. Hua Guang said after some thought. In at most 1 or 2 years, we will be living there. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Ah! Zhujian Sheng was surprised. Don't worry, I don't care about the Life Alliance's asset. Yang Chuan shook his head and said softly. Then what do you want? ZZ asked curiously. I want the entire carefree city. Yang Chuan took a deep breath and said indifferently. What? The 3 swordsmen were surprised. Let's go to the Drunken Immortal Inn for a drink. Yang Chuan smiled. Carefree Hall. After sending off King Mu and the others from the demon controlling sect, the sect master of the Triple Serenity sect fell silent. What do you think? Zheng Hong asked in a low voice. Yang Chuan is a tough nut to crack. Bastard. The sect master of the Triple Serenity sect said coldly. Since we didn't find anything, let's wait and see. There will be plenty of time in the future, the sect master of the Triple Serenity sect said. Millimeter. Zheng Hong nodded. The most important thing now is the heavenly wrath from yesterday. Elder Yu from the Great Winged Heaven School has urged us more than once. Continue to investigate, Zheng Hong said again. Millimeter. Chapter 354. Inside King Yi Mu's residence. King Yi Mu sat in the main seat with his disciples on both sides. Liu Gang, why did you stop Master? Why did you stop Yang Chuan from handing over the Life Alliance's properties? Do you know how much you've caused the demon-controlling sect to suffer? Eldest senior brother Dan Qingzi shouted. Dan Qingzi. King Yi Mu stopped Dan Qingzi and looked at Liu Gang. Liu Gang, speak. King Yi Mu looked at Liu Gang. Disciple instinctively felt that there was danger in this place, but Disciple wasn't sure. Liu Gang said. You stopped Master because you weren't sure? Dan Qingzi asked. Let him speak. King Yi Mu shook his head. Thank you for your trust, Master. On the way back, Disciple realized that this place isn't just dangerous, it's extremely dangerous. Liu Gang said. Oh. The Life Alliance's properties aren't a piece of meat, but a source of disaster. Master, think about it. This piece of meat should have been Yang Chuan's. Now that he's given it to Master, what will the Triyu sect think of it? Will they allow Master to swallow it? Liu Gang asked solemnly. Will the Triyu sect target the demon-controlling sect? That's right, Liu Gang said in a low voice. The Triyu sect is like 3 vicious dogs against the demon-controlling sect. If they really target the demon-controlling sect, the Great River sect will just sit back and watch the tigers fight. Master, what are you thinking? King Yi Mu's pupils shrank. What? Dan Qingzi was confused. Destroy the sect. Liu Gang said. What? That's impossible. Dan Qingzi exclaimed. Why not? The Triyu sect can't get a share of the Life Alliance's properties, but they can get 2 once the demon-controlling sect is destroyed. Why not? Liu Gang sneered. King Yi Mu's face darkened. But Yang Chuan gave this piece of meat to the Triyu sect. Dan Qingzi said with a frown. No, not the Triyu sect, but the Shangyo sect. Although the Triyu sect has a close relationship, they are still 3 sects. Senior brother, didn't you see what happened in the main hall today? Yang Chuan gave the benefits to the High Nether sect, but ruthlessly slapped the faces of the Nether sect and the Central Nether sect. Liu Gang said solemnly. Why is that? Dan Qingzi frowned. Sowing discord within the Triyu sect. We'll split into 3 sect. King Wild narrowed his eyes. Master is wise. Liu Gang immediately said. There was a heavy silence in the hall. Thinking of all this, everyone felt a chill run down their spines. What is Yang Chuan trying to do? Dan Qingzi asked with an ugly expression. I don't know either. However, it's best for us to bide our time and not fight for it. Let's see what they do. Liu Gang said in a low voice. This Yang Chuan isn't simple, King Yi Mu said in a low voice. Also, eldest senior brother, third senior brother, it's best for you to forget the grudge between you and Yang Chuan. Although the Dai sect doesn't have many disciples, that's only because of Yang Dao's death. The Dai sect still has many high-ranking disciples. Our demon-controlling sect can't compare to the Dai sect or the Triyu sect, so we're the weakest. Now that the Dai sect and the Triyu sect are fighting, it's best for us to bide our time, Liu Gang said solemnly. Hey! Dan Qingzi and third senior brother raised their eyebrows. That's right. If the 2 of you can't control yourselves, return to the sect first. King Yi Mu said in a low voice. Yes, Master, don't worry. We will definitely control ourselves. Dan Qingzi immediately said. Chapter 355. Carefree City. On the bustling streets. Large numbers of cultivators came and went. Here, all the cultivators walked on the ground, abiding by the rules of Carefree City. In the middle of the bustling streets, there was a huge 5-story restaurant. It was the famous drunken Immortal restaurant. Yang Chuan and ZZ sat on the 5th floor, enjoying the scenery of the streets and the hustle and bustle of the main hall downstairs. Some rogue cultivators sat together, chatting and singing. It was a place of great joy. Not far away, Hu Guang and the rest were sitting. Yang Chuan and ZZ sat opposite each other. There were 10 jugs of fine wine on the table. ZZ poured a cup for Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan tasted them one by one. This wine is not bad. It tastes sweet, but there is a faint bitterness in the aftertaste. What is it called? Yang Chuan put down a cup. This is called Yearning Tears. ZZ explained. Yearning Tears. Yearning is sweet, yearning is bitter. What a good yearning tears. Yang Chuan nodded. How does Marshall Uncle know everything? I have been drinking for so long, why can't I feel the faint bitterness? Jujian Sheng rubbed his nose and said bitterly. Martial uncle is a person with good taste. Senior brother, you are drinking like a bull. Jujian Sheng is just a person who drinks a lot. He doesn't know wine. The three swordsmen interrupted. I don't know wine? Jujian Sheng glared. The two brothers started to play. While Yang Chuan was tasting the wine, there were sounds of whistling coming from downstairs. You guys don't know how powerful that pig demon was. We were about to be finished, but suddenly, there was a release of arrows. 1,000 shooting sun arrows killed the pig demon instantly. Too beautiful. We have heard of so many scams. You guys got lucky. However, you haven't told us who helped you. HMPH, HMPH. You guys definitely didn't expect him to be Blood Demon. Blood Demon Yang Chuan. Do you guys know? The ferocious person who killed 6,000 alone in Demon Wind mountain range. Hearing the whistling from downstairs, Yang Chuan was slightly taken aback. He lowered his head and saw the mercenaries he had met on the way to Carefree City. The leader of the mercenaries, Mu Qianli, laughed as he drank his wine. He stared at his subordinates and continued to brag. Yang Chuan's expression changed slightly. He looked down and said to Hu Guang, "Invite Mu Qianli up." Yes. Hu Guang quickly went downstairs. Everyone didn't understand what Yang Chuan meant, but they didn't ask. Soon, the answer was revealed. Soon, Mu Qianli walked upstairs cautiously. He saw Zizi at a glance. Ah! Mu Qianli exclaimed. When he was suddenly invited up by Hu Guang, Mu Qianli knew that it was Yang Chuan. He didn't know how to face him, but when he suddenly saw the jinx Zizi, he immediately panicked. Greetings to Senior and Miss Z. Mu Qianli said immediately. Don't be so reserved, just stand there. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes, thank you, Senior. Mu Qianli stood 20 feet away. Senior, may I know what instructions do you have for me? Mu Qianli asked immediately. I heard you say that you can earn 50 inferior grade spirit stones in a month by risking your life. Yang Chuan asked. Yes. Then, how is this number among the mercenaries? Yang Chuan asked with a smile. Hearing this, Mu Qianli immediately revealed a proud expression. Senior, I'm not bragging, but my number is definitely one of the best among all the mercenaries. Many cultivators can't even earn spirit stones in a month and will even lose a lot. Oh! Yang Chuan smiled. Hee, of course. It's just that we are small itinerant cultivators and can't be compared to the Day Sec. Mu Qianli said humbly. Chapter 356. Hee, if I give you 1 mid-grade spirit stone a month to hire you, would you be willing? Yang Chuan smiled. 1 mid-grade spirit stone is equivalent to 100 low-grade spirit stones. Senior, are you joking? Mu Qianli was surprised. I'm not joking. Would you be willing? Yang Chuan asked. Yes, of course. Mu Qianli said excitedly. However, Senior, I still have a few dozen brothers to eat with us. Can they? Mu Qianli said with anticipation. Looking at Mu Qianli, Yang Chuan smiled and said, how can a few dozen be enough? Ah! Then how many do you want? Mu Qianli was slightly stunned. At least tens of thousands. Yang Chuan smiled and said. Ah! Mu Qianli was surprised. It was as if he didn't believe Yang Chuan. Not only Mu Qianli, but Jujian Sheng and the rest also looked at Yang Chuan in confusion. What kind of joke was this? Tens of thousands. Day Sect originally only had 4,000 people, and Tianfeng added 3,000 at one go. Now, he wanted to add tens of thousands. I'm serious. I'll have to trouble you with something. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Senior, please speak. Mu Qianli immediately said. Help me inform all the mercenary groups in the city that King of Hell's Palace is recruiting. The more, the better. Ordinary soldiers will be paid 1 mid-grade spirit stone a month. Promotion by 1 rank will be paid 10 times. Yang Chuan said in a low voice. Ah! Really? Mu Qianli was shocked. Promotion by 1 rank would be paid 10 times? Wouldn't that be 10 mid-grade spirit stones? If he wanted to be promoted, wouldn't it be 1 high-grade spirit stone? Mu Qianli's breathing was a little hurried. Liu Jin, give him 1 high-grade spirit stone for operation. Yang Chuan said. Yes. Liu Jin immediately took out a high-grade spirit stone. Mu Qianli held the spirit stone in disbelief. King of Hell's Palace, where is King of Hell's Palace? Mu Qianli asked. It's Carefree City, the original Day Hall. Liu Jin explained. Oh. Mu Qianli immediately nodded. 3 days later, the King of Hell's Palace will be recruiting mercenaries. The minimum requirement is 2 years. There are so many people in Carefree City. If you recruit 10,000 people, you will be rewarded with a high-grade spirit stone. If you recruit 20,000 people, you will be given double the reward. If you recruit 30,000, you will be given double the reward. And so on and so forth. Yang Chuan laughed. Yes. Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. Mu Qianli said excitedly. Mu Qianli had an account in his heart. 1 high-grade spirit stone for 10,000 people. If he were to recruit 50,000 people, wouldn't that be 16 high-grade spirit stones? That was an astronomical figure that he didn't even dare to imagine in the past. Go. Yes. Senior, don't worry. 3 days later, at the King of Hell's Palace, I will definitely summon over half of the mercenaries in the city. Mu Qianli excitedly retreated. The moment Mu Qianli left, everyone started shouting. Martial Uncle, what do you mean by this? That's right, Martial Uncle. Why do you want to recruit tens of thousands of people? No matter how big your family is, it won't be enough. That's right. My king, why do you want to recruit so many people? Hu Guang didn't understand. It's time to recruit. Tens of thousands of people? Is that a lot? Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Tens of thousands of people? Was that a lot? The faces of Zhu Jiansheng and the rest turned black. What a joke. This wasn't a lot. Do you have enough spirit stones? I still have some. Zizi immediately said. Looking at Zizi, Yang Chuan smiled and nodded. Seeing Yang Chuan nodding, a smile flashed across Zizi's eyes. If Yang Chuan didn't want it, Zizi would feel uncomfortable in her heart. Hu Guang, the newly recruited soldiers will fill up the first legion. Do you understand? Yang Chuan said faintly. Yes, my king, don't worry. 3,000 people and 30,000 people were 2 completely different concepts. An army of tens of thousands of cultivators. Hu Guang's heart was surging with excitement just thinking about it. Chapter 357. Day Sect, Main Peak, Great River Hall. The great swordsman rushed back to meet Feng Tairan and the 3 Peak Masters. At this moment, the hall was silent. How many days has it been? This Yang Chuan is too troublesome, Jiao Bufan said with a strange expression. Recruiting? Tens of thousands of people? Feng Tianyu also had a strange expression. Mo Wuhui did not say anything. Feng Tairan frowned. Sect Master, this is what happened. Although this is Martial Uncle's matter, the commotion this time is too big. Therefore, I came back to report it. As for the details, Sect Master should decide personally, the great swordsman said respectfully. Sect Master? Everyone looked at Feng Tairan. Feng Tairan took a deep breath and said, my injuries are almost healed. Let me handle this matter. Yes. The 3 Peak Masters nodded. Let's go. I'll go with you to Carefree City. Feng Tairan smiled bitterly. Carefree City, King Mui's residence. Master, the news has spread throughout Carefree City. King of Hell's Palace is recruiting mercenaries. Dan Qingzi frowned. What a huge commotion. Liu Gang frowned. Hey! King Mui looked at Liu Gang. Master, I only guessed that Yang Chuan would play some tricks. Who would have thought that there would be such a huge commotion? Recruiting mercenaries? What is he trying to do? Liu Gang was puzzled. Second brother, fourth brother, go take a look. King Mui said to the other 2 disciples. Yes, master. The 2 of them immediately left the hall. Carefree City, King of Hell's Palace. At the foot of the mountain, a large number of cultivators gathered. Why can't I? Why does it have to be 2 years? Move aside, don't block the way, move aside. We still have to sign up, move aside. A large number of mercenaries signed up. Liu Jin led 3,000 members of the embroidered uniform army and screened the large number of cultivators who signed up. On the mountain, King of Hell's palace, only Yang Chuan and Hu Guang were in the hall. Your Majesty, it's already the 5th day. As of today, we've already recruited 35,000 people, Hu Guang said excitedly. Hu Guang was certain that he was the most accomplished person in the history of the Hu family. Tomorrow is the last day. We can probably reach 40,000 people. Yang Chuan nodded with satisfaction. Yes, almost all of these mercenaries are in the essence realm. The highest among them is at LV9, Hu Guang said. So, from now on, you have to work even harder, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes, Your Majesty, please rest assured, Hu Guang said solemnly. Do you know how to deal with these people? Yang Chuan asked. Hu Guang nodded. This subject understands. I will break up the small groups and reorganize them. Yang Chuan nodded with satisfaction. Your Majesty, do you have any orders for the recruitment of 40,000 people? Hu Guang asked. Reorganize the First Legion. In 3 days, we will leave the city and head for the Demon Wind Mountain Range, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Demon Wind Mountain Range? Yarrow Tianshang cleansed the Demon Wind Mountain Range once and took away all the Emptiness Realm monsters and more than half of the Immortal Realm monster kings. With an army of 40,000 people, they will be able to do whatever they want, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Yes, Your Majesty. I will give you 1 year. In 1 year, these rogue cultivators will be trained well, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. 1 year? Don't worry, Your Majesty. In 1 year, there will be strict military discipline. I will maintain the morale of the soldiers, Hu Guang said with certainty. In 1 year, I will have great use for you. Don't disappoint me, Yang Chuan said solemnly. Chapter 358. Yes, I will train in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range for a year. At the same time, I promise that I will reach the Qi state in a year. I will not disappoint my king, Hu Guang said confidently. You have the army-breaking will. You will be able to reach the Qi state if you lead 40,000 soldiers to kill monsters in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range. Work hard. Our journey has just begun, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes. By the way, you can kill and eat all monsters except for the tiger tribe, Yang Chuan said after thinking for a while. Hu Guang thought about Miao and immediately understood. I will pay attention. Hu Guang nodded. Go and familiarize yourself with the First Legion, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Okay. Hu Guang nodded and left the hall. 3 days later, outside the King of Hell's palace, Yang Chuan stood on top of the mountain and looked down at the 40,000 soldiers. After 3 days of reorganization, the 40,000 soldiers were starting to take shape. Behind Yang Chuan stood Liu Jin, the 7 swordsmen, Zhujian Sheng, Feng Tairan, and Duan Sanshu. Looking down at the 40,000 soldiers, except for Liu Jin, they all had a bitter look on their faces. How dare you? Feng Tairan said with a bitter smile. Yang Chuan smiled and turned to Duan Sanshu. Duan Sanshu, are your injuries better? Yang Chuan asked. Almost. Thanks to you last time in the Devilish Wind Mountain Range. Duan Sanshu said with a smile. There is something I need your help with, Yang Chuan said. Oh, go ahead, Duan Sanshu said immediately. Duan Sanshu did not decline the favor of saving his life. I want you to protect Hu Guang for a year, Yang Chuan said with a smile. A year? They are going to the Devilish Wind Mountain Range, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Demon Wind Mountain Range again? Duan Sanshu's expression changed slightly. Haha, you don't usually have to do anything. In fact, the strongest experts in the Demon Wind Mountain Range are only a few at the Godly Realm. You just have to protect Hu Guang, Yang Chuan said with certainty. All right. Duan Sanshu nodded. After saying this, Duan Sanshu flew down the mountain. Yang Chuan lightly waved his hand downward. Below him, the First Legion commander Hu Guang immediately accepted the order. All troops, follow me out of the city. Roar. The army of 40,000 roared in response. Rumble. Rumble. The 40,000-strong army marched out of the King of Hell's palace and into the city, heading out of the city. Wherever they passed, they turned into smoke and rolled away. On this day, the entire city was alarmed by Yang Chuan's extravagance. Everyone stopped what they were doing and observed this strange army of 40,000. Yang Chuan is crazy. He recruited so many mercenaries. Yeah, it won't be long before Yang Chuan is eaten up. 40,000 troops, 40,000 mouths. Where are they going? How would I know? While the cultivators were discussing, King Yi Mu, Zheng Hong, and the others waited in silence. No one could see through Yang Chuan's plan. What was the use of these low-level cultivators? An army. In the eyes of the Godly Realm experts, an army was the most useless thing. With their Godly Realm cultivation, they could take the head of a general in an army of 10,000. Once the leader died, the army would scatter. What was the point? Yang Chuan stood in front of the King of Hell's palace, watching the First Legion leave. The First Army was officially formed. Yang Chuan, 40,000 troops. That's thousands of high-grade spirit stones a year. Can you afford it? Foam Tyran smiled bitterly. That's why I came to you. But before that, I want to ask you for a few more people. Yang Chuan smiled. Oh. Great Swordsman, Second Swordsman, it's the two of them. Yang Chuan laughed. What orders do you have for us? Great Swordsman asked curiously. Yes, Martial Uncle. If you have any orders, just say it. We will do it. Second Swordsman said immediately. What is it? Foam Tyran asked curiously. Liu Jin is going to the mortal world soon. She is going to my Yang state to bring some things back. Great Swordsman and Second Swordsman will go with her to protect someone for me. It might take a few years. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. A few years. Great Swordsman was surprised. Of course, if you are tired of it, you can ask other swordsmen to do it. But you must make sure that he has 2 Qi Jing cultivators protecting him. If you go to protect that person, the Dae sect will give you 5 times more spirit stones. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. 5 times more spirit stones? Second Swordsman was surprised. 5 times, Martial Uncle. Why don't I go? 3 swordsmen suddenly smiled. Yes, I will go. 5 times more. 4 swordsmen immediately shouted. He, Great Swordsman and Second Swordsman are more calm and can endure loneliness. That's why I asked them. Yang Chuan shook his head. Who? Foam Tyran was puzzled. One of my officials. His name is Yi Foam, Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Foam Tyran looked at Great Swordsman and Second Swordsman. Sect leader, Martial Uncle, don't worry. We will not let him get hurt. The two said with certainty. Okay. Yang Chuan nodded. Foam Tyran naturally had no objections. Since that's the case, Liu Jin, go buy some things and prepare to leave. Yang Chuan said to Liu Jin. Yes, King. Don't worry. Liu Jin said respectfully. Both of you, please follow me. There are many things in Carefree City that I need your help to buy. Liu Jin smiled at Great Swordsman and Second Swordsman. Okay. The two followed Liu Jin and left. Martial Uncle, what about us? Is there anything that we can help with? Zhujian Sheng asked. Although they didn't know what Yang Chuan was up to, Zhujian Sheng and the others could feel that Yang Chuan was planning something. We will be busy from now on. Rest well. I will call you when the time comes. Yang Chuan smiled. You can leave first. I have something to say to Yang Chuan, Foam Tyran said lightly. Yes. Everyone nodded. Speak, what do you want to do? Foam Tyran asked. Standing in the square in front of the King of Hell's hall, Yang Chuan took a deep breath and said, What do you think of Carefree City? Oh. Foam Tyran's eyes narrowed as if he had guessed something. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. That year, your father said that he would think of a way to completely control Carefree City. What a pity. Do you also want to? Foam Tyran said solemnly. Why not? Yang Chuan smiled. Foam Tyran looked at Yang Chuan and shook his head. It's not enough. Your 40,000 soldiers are useless. This carefree city isn't that easy to take. The 4 major sects will never give it up. Give it up? Who needs them to give it up? Yang Chuan sneered. Oh. The 3 Serenities sect forced my father to his death. I want to uproot the 3 Serenities sect. Yang Chuan said coldly. What? Foam Tyran was shocked. Impossible. The 3 Serenities sect is stronger than my day sect at its peak. How can it be uprooted? Foam Tyran couldn't believe it. Who says I can't? Yang Chuan smiled coldly. Chapter 359. King of Hell's Hall. At a stone table in front of the hall, Yang Chuan invited Foam Tyran to sit down and explained his plan in detail. Originally, there were 6 great sects in the worry-free city. My Great River sect used to be the biggest sect. Even now, we still have 13 godly realm experts in our first generation. However, most of them are wandering outside. In the vicinity of the Great River sect, there are only me, the 3 Peak Masters, and Duan Sanshu. Only 5 people. Foam Tyran said. I understand, Day sect only has 5 Immortal realm experts. What about the others? Yang Chuan poured a cup of wine and asked with a smile. 3 Serenities sect has 5 Immortal realm experts each, and all of them are in their own sects, 15 in total. While Imperial Monster sect has 4 Immortal realm experts, how can my Day sect uproot them? Foam Tyran was confused. That's why I came to you. They have 19 Immortal realm experts. Why don't you separate them? Yang Chuan laughed. Oh. I've studied the Day sect's defensive formation, why not put it in Carefree City? Yang Chuan laughed. Put it here? How can that be? That's my Day sect's most sensitive secret, even in the sect, it's not fully opened, how can we set it up here? Once the other 4 sects figure it out, my Day sect's last line of defense will be gone. Foam Tyran shook his head. Ha ha ha, no, the last line of defense. Why do we need to defend? Uproot these sects, what else do we need to defend against? Moreover, the best defense is not these formations, but strength. With strength, who would dare to invade? Yang Chuan said solemnly. Foam Tyran's eyes narrowed. He looked pensive. Day sect's defensive formation covers Carefree City. Not only us, you also need to persuade the other 4 sects to set up their strongest formations above Carefree City. Let Carefree City have the strongest defense. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Why is that? Foam Tyran was puzzled. The strongest defense is not only for external defense, but also for internal defense. When the time is right, we will surround the city and kill all the heroes. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. You want to use Carefree City to trap and kill them? Foam Tyran asked in surprise. That's right. Yang Chuan said solemnly. But. Foam Tyran frowned. Don't worry, I've already buried the catalyst. When the time comes, it will draw out all the divine realm expert. Yang Chuan said with a smile. You're really crazy. Foam Tyran said with a complicated expression. Oh. But, I like it, ha ha ha. Foam Tyran suddenly laughed. Yang Chuan's expression relaxed slightly. I know. Since you said that, you must have a plan. Tell me, what do you want to do? Foam Tyran said with a smile. The time will be about a year from now. Therefore, the first thing to do is to send the disciples of the sect to secretly recall all the first-generation disciples. We have to go secretly. Yang Chuan laughed. There are still 8 first-generation disciples outside, but we might not be able to recall all of them. I don't know where some first-generation disciples have gone. Foam Tyran said with a frown. Bring back as many as you can. When the time comes, say that the sect's survival is at stake and they must return. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Foam Tyran nodded. The second thing is, contact the sect leaders of the various sects and set up a formation for Carefree City. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Set up a formation? What's the reason? A few days ago, thunder rumbled in Carefree City, and the heavenly punishment almost fell. This is the reason. In order to better protect Carefree City, this excuse is enough. Yang Chuan said confidently. But they can't be as selfless as me. They can't possibly set up all their defensive formations, Foam Tyran said after some thought. Chapter 360. Isn't that better? Yang Chuan smiled. Ah, you're right. Ha 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 ha. Foam Tyran laughed. But when the time comes, even with the formation, the Daith sect will have a hard time. Compared to the 4 sects, we're still far behind, Foam Tyran said in a deep voice. Far behind? Hee, don't worry. I'll find a way. Yang Chuan smiled. Oh? Foam Tyran asked curiously. Well, we'll know in a few days. We'll see. Yang Chuan said. Millimeter. Foam Tyran nodded. Also, the spiritual stones from the Life League are only enough to support the 40,000 troops for a few months. I'm recruiting for 2 years. The rest of the spiritual stones will be collected from the Daith sect. Yang Chuan smiled. I knew you were waiting here. 40,000 troops and 400 upper spiritual stones a month. This number is too terrifying. Why did you think of recruiting so many troops? Foam Tyran frowned. I have my own uses. Moreover, I think it's too little. Yang Chuan shook his head. Too little? Foam Tyran was speechless. Don't worry. After a year, Carefree City will be ours. By then, the spiritual stones won't be so tight. Yang Chuan said. Foam Tyran was speechless. All right, I'll give you the spiritual stones. Foam Tyran nodded. Sect leader, you're so generous. Let me toast you. Yang Chuan raised his cup and smiled. Foam Tyran smiled bitterly and drank with Yang Chuan. It's not that I'm generous. I think highly of you. Foam Tyran smiled. Oh, I understand. The strength of a sect doesn't just depend on experts. It also depends on people with great courage. Although you're young, I can see great courage in you. Even your father can't compare to you. I believe in you. When you reach the immortal state, I'll pass the position of sect leader to you. Foam Tyran said solemnly. Pass it on to me. Yang Chuan was slightly surprised. Wasn't it a little too early to say that? Yes, I'll pass it on to you. I don't know why you've recruited so many soldiers, but I know you must have a plan. Your vision is further than mine. The Daith sect will only flourish in your hands. I'll protect it for you. Foam Tyran said solemnly. Yang Chuan looked at Foam Tyran and fell silent. In the end, he nodded. The two of them no longer spoke. Instead, they sat in front of the Yama Palace, surveying the entire worry-free city Beijing, Xingluo Villa. The valley within the valley. Grandpa, demonic beasts, so many demonic beasts. Yi Lin shouted excitedly. Yi Feng smiled and said, take these things and leave first. Don't disturb me. Oh, okay. Yi Lin retreated excitedly. There were only Yi Feng and Liu Jin in the gazebo by the lake. Liu Jin looked at a chessboard in the pavilion. Is this the first chessboard that the king played? Liu Jin asked curiously. That's right. These days, I've been studying this chessboard whenever I have free time. The king's chessboard is filled with the aura of a sovereign. Incredible. Yi Feng exclaimed. The Grand Preceptor must have been working hard these days, Liu Jin said with a smile. It's just some trivial matters on my side. How have you been, King? Yi Feng asked. Of course. The king has already taken root in the cultivation world, and his name has shaken the entire cultivation world. The battle at the Demon Wind mountain range. Liu Jin didn't hide anything and gave a rough summary of what had happened these days. The world of cultivators is really colorful, Yi Feng exclaimed. Yeah. The king's first army now has an army of 40,000 cultivators. These days are really like a dream, Liu Jin said with a smile. Chapter 361. Does the king have any orders? Yi Feng frowned slightly. This time, I've purchased a large amount of cultivation manuals, pills, and artifacts from Carefree City. King said that you'll be in charge of everything. If possible, it's fine to spread the cultivation manuals to everyone, Liu Jin said solemnly. Cultivate the entire population? Yi Feng's expression changed. Yes. As for how to spread it and how to control it, it is still up to you to decide. The king said that in a few years, he will return to establish a country, so that you can be mentally prepared. Liu Jin said solemnly. Then, when will the First Legion return? Yi Feng asked solemnly. First Legion? The First Legion will not return unless after the establishment of the country, Liu Jin said. Yi Feng nodded and his expression relaxed slightly. Why? Is there a difference? Liu Jin asked curiously. Here in the mortal world, there are 3 countries that are at war. If the First Legion intervenes, there is no need for me to arrange anything. They can quickly wipe out the 3 countries. However, the king did not do so. I understand the king's intention. Yi Feng laughed. What does that mean? Liu Jin did not understand. The king is broad-minded and farsighted. No matter how strong an army is, it is only an army. The king is starting to cultivate a second army. Yi Feng smiled. Oh. Liu Jin's eyes lit up. Oh right, what are the 2 cultivators that followed me here for? Yi Feng asked. They are the great swordsman and second swordsman that I mentioned before. The king specially sent them to ensure your safety and protect you. Liu Jin said solemnly. Yi Feng took a deep breath and bowed slightly to the north. Thank you, king. Oh right, the king has a mission for you. Liu Jin thought for a moment and said. Oh. The former consecrator of Zheng country, Liu Gang. The king wants you to quickly gather all the information about him in the mortal world. Liu Jin thought for a moment and said. Okay. Carefree City, City Lord Mansion, Feng Tairan and the 4 palace lords gathered. If that's the case, then this old man will make preparations first. Feng Tairan said to everyone. Yes. Everyone nodded. Feng Tairan stepped out of Ashoka Hall and flew into the distance. Zhang Hong, King Mui, Sect Master Shangyo, and Sect Master Shio all looked at Feng Tairan with furrowed brows. Is the Dai sect really willing to make the mountain guarding formation public? Sect Master Shio asked in confusion. What do you think, King Yi? Zhang Hong looked at King Yi. King Yi fell silent for a moment. Then, he shook his head and said, since Feng Tairan has spoken, then he must be telling the truth. However, I wonder how much of the Dai sect's defensive formation he will provide. Mph, my Xianyu sect definitely won't take it all out. The Xianyu sect master said coldly. It's fine as long as you know what you're doing. King Yi Mu smiled faintly, unwilling to speak any further. Everyone fell silent. Everyone, I'll be leaving as well. Farewell. King Yi Mu said with a smile. With that, King Wild Mu turned around and left. Only the sect master of the Triyu sect was left. Is there still no sign of the heavenly phenomenon? Zhang Hong asked solemnly. Elder Yu wants to know, but so do we. We just don't have any leads. Sect Master Shangyo said solemnly. Yeah, there's no news at all. Sect Master Xiao shook his head. By the way, isn't it time to divide the Life League's assets? Sect Master Xiao asked again. Sect Master Shangyo frowned and said, I'm not done yet. Let's wait a little longer. Wait. Wait for what? You're not thinking of taking it all for yourself, are you? Sect Master Xiao's face darkened. What do you mean by taking it all for myself? I'm in charge of the statistics now. Of course I have to be responsible for everyone. Sect Master Shangyo's expression changed. You. Sect Master Xiao's expression changed. Zheng Hong's expression also darkened. Alright, I'm going back first. I'll inform you when I'm done, Sect Master Shangyo said solemnly. Chapter 362. Carefree City, Purple Heart Villa. Feng Tairan gathered a large number of Dai sect disciples and began to set up a formation in Carefree City. Yang Chuan went to Purple Heart's place to relax and enjoy some wine. Is there anything I can help you with? Purple Heart asked softly. There's no need. Although it's a little complicated, I'm confident. Yang Chuan smiled. No, I know it's not that easy. If there's anything I can do, let me do it. Purple Heart shook her head. Looking at Purple Heart's resolute gaze, Yang Chuan's expression softened. All right. Yang Chuan put down his wine cup and nodded. Purple Heart's eyes lit up. What do I have to do? Let me comb your hair for you again. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Ah! No. Purple Heart cried out. Comb her hair? Purple Heart was almost scared to death the last time. Don't worry, there's Meow. Yang Chuan smiled. Meow. Meow, who was lying in a pile of spirit stones not far away, let out a puzzled cry. No, it's too dangerous. Purple Heart said worriedly. Meow's head popped out from the pile of spirit stones happily. Big hooligan, are you going to violate Sister Purple Heart again? Meow asked curiously. Yang Chuan's face darkened, and Purple Heart's face turned red. Don't worry, if it's just a simple comb, I can stop the divine punishment. If it's more, I won't be able to stop it. Meow shook her head. What more? If you say more, I won't give you any more spirit stones. I'm going to take back the spirit stones you're lying on. Purple Heart cried out with a red face. Meow, Meow didn't say anything. Meow. Meow plunged into the pile of spirit stones again. Yang Chuan looked at Meow Meow in the pile of spirit stones with a strange look on his face. Yang Chuan realized that the little cat he had picked up was not only good at acting cute, it was also evil. Where did such a good kitten come from? King Mui's residence. In front of King Yi stood a group of disciples, each of them holding an invitation card. King Yi Mu was at a loss when he saw the invitation. Master, whose invitation card is it? Dan Qingzi asked curiously. King Yi Mu handed the invitation over. The disciples passed it around to take a look. Yang Chuan? Yang Chuan's invitation? Dan Qingzi said in surprise. The location of the visit is actually within the demon controlling sect. Liu Gang said with a frown. Master, since Yang Chuan wants to pay a visit, why didn't he come here directly? Why did he go to my demon controlling sect outside the city? Dan Qingzi asked in confusion. I don't know. King Yi Mu replied solemnly. Dan Qingzi thought for a moment and said, could it be to trick Master and then destroy this place? There's no need for that. There's no point in destroying it. Although this palace is big, it's just a decoration. It's not worth going to such great length. Liu Gang thought about it and said. Liu Gang, what do you think? King Yi Mu asked. Master, I think that Yang Chuan's invitation card is very polite. We should meet him. However, eldest senior brother is right. We have to be careful here. If possible, we should invite a divine realm martial uncle to oversee the situation. We'll return to the demon controlling sect and wait for Yang Chuan. We'll see what he's up to. Liu Gang said in a low voice. Maybe he'll bring 40,000 soldiers to the demon controlling sect. King Yi Mu's face darkened. No way. Everyone's expression changed. Liu Gang and Dan Qingzi will return with me in 5 days. The rest of you will stay here and pretend that you know nothing, King Yi Mu said in a low voice. Yes. 5 days later. Amidst countless rivers, there was a mountain range shrouded in mist. Chapter 363. A large number of cultivators were gathered around as if they were waiting for something. There was a giant monument at the southern entrance of the mountain with the words Demon Controlling Sect written on it. In a forest south of the Demon Controlling Sect. Yang Chuan, Zizi, Feng Tairan, and Liu Jin stood there. Meow was lying on Yang Chuan's shoulder. Are you really going in alone? Feng Tairan asked with a complicated expression. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Yang Chuan smiled. But Zizi was worried. Don't worry, I'll definitely come out. I'll comb your hair for you. Yang Chuan smiled. Zizi nodded and said seriously, if anything happens to you, I won't let the demon controlling sect off easy. Don't worry. Yang Chuan smiled and walked toward the demon controlling sect. When they were close, Yang Chuan slowed down with the Jade Emperor sword on his back and Meow on his shoulder. They slowly walked toward the demon controlling sect's entrance. In the main hall of the demon controlling sect. In the main hall, King Yi Mu was in the lead, followed by 2 old men in Daoist robes on his left and right. Behind them were the disciples of the demon controlling sect. Senior brother, how many people will Yang Chuan bring? An old man in a Daoist robe asked. I'm not sure. Thank you for your hard work, junior brothers. King Yi Mu smiled. It's my duty. After the battle at the Daoist Wind mountain range, we have to take Yang Chuan seriously. Besides, he has the support of the Dai sect and 40,000 soldiers. Sigh. The old man in a Daoist robe said. Who would have thought that Yang Dao's son is so powerful? How dare he make the entire sect wait for him? The other old man in a Daoist robe smiled bitterly. King Yimu also smiled bitterly. Indeed, 3 Immortal State and a group of Qi State cultivators from the demon-controlling sect were waiting for Yang Chuan here. Report, sect leader, Yang Chuan is here. A disciple of the demon-controlling sect ran over and shouted. He's here. How many people? King Yimu asked immediately. 1, just him. That demon-controlling sect disciple reported. What? Just 1 person? An old man in a Daoist robe asked with a stiff expression. The atmosphere in the hall was strange. 1 person? Come alone. Everyone was at a loss for words. Let him in. King Yi ordered in a deep voice. Yes. After the reporting disciple left, the hall fell into silence again. Alone? That shouldn't be the case. The deity realm old man muttered. In front of the demon-controlling sect. Hallmaster Yang, please, a disciple leading the way said respectfully. Even though they knew that Yang Chuan was only at the essence realm, no one dared to underestimate him. He was a terrifying blood devil who had killed 6,000 essence realm and hundreds of Qi realm experts in one night. Who was not afraid of death and wanted to put on airs with him? Not long ago, in the Ahsoka Hall, a Qi realm cultivator from the underworld sect came looking for trouble with Yang Chuan. In the end, he was killed by Yang Chuan with a single sword strike, and the other hall masters were stunned. Therefore, the disciple leading the way was respectful and even a little fearful of Yang Chuan. Stepping into the demon-controlling sect, Yang Chuan saw a different scene compared to the Dai sect. A large number of demonic beasts roamed around the sect. The demonic beasts were running around, and they seemed to be very obedient to some cultivators. Some cultivators were sitting on demonic cows, while others were riding demonic deer. They were running around the sect quickly. As he walked deeper into the sect, a cultivator riding a tiger passed by him. Meow. Meow suddenly cried out. Roar. The tiger stopped abruptly and lay on the ground. The cultivator sitting on it was caught off guard and fell down. You. The cultivator's face was covered in dirt and he looked at the tiger angrily. At this moment, the tiger was lying on the ground and looking at Meow with a fearful expression. Meow. Meow called out proudly. With this call, the tiger's fearful expression slowly receded and it bowed respectfully to Meow. The surrounding cultivators were at a loss. Even a tiger bowed to a cat these days. Of course, the defeated cultivator didn't dare to cause trouble for Yang Chuan. Hallmaster Yang, this way please, the cultivator leading the way said respectfully. Millimeter. Yang Chuan looked meaningfully at the tiger on the ground and smiled. Soon, they arrived at the main hall of the demon-controlling sect. The demon-controlling hall. In front of the demon-controlling hall, King Yimu was waiting with a group of experts. King Yimu, sorry to keep you waiting. Yang Chuan walked over with a smile. King Yimu looked at Yang Chuan. Did he really come here alone? Haha, Hallmaster Yang, please come in, King Yimu said with a smile. Yang Chuan nodded. A banquet had already been prepared in the hall. King Yimu sat in the main seat in the north, while the rest of the demon-controlling sect sat to his left. There was only one table on the right for Yang Chuan to sit. The demon-controlling sect is honored by Hallmaster Yang's arrival. I propose a toast to you on behalf of the demon-controlling sect, King Yimu said with a smile. Yang Chuan nodded and toasted with King Yimu. Meow. Meow jumped onto the table, picked up a wine jug, and took a sip. TSK, TSK. This wine tastes terrible. Meow frowned. Everyone in the hall was stunned. It can talk. This kitten can talk. Alright, Meow, stop messing around. Take a rest. Yang Chuan said. Meow. Meow sat down and took out a high-grade spirit stone from somewhere. She held it and bit it gently. Crunch, crunch. Only the sound of Meow chewing on the spirit stone could be heard in the hall. Everyone in the demon-controlling sect was shocked. High-grade spirit stone? It eats high-grade spirit stones? A disciple exclaimed. In the blink of an eye, a high-grade spirit stone was gone. Meow took out another one and continued eating. A cat that eats spirit stones? Why haven't I heard of this before? A demon-controlling sect disciple exclaimed. Meow. Who called me a cat? Meow jumped up reflexively. I. The disciple was stunned. Cat your sister. Meow cursed. Ah. The disciple's face froze. Meow, that's enough. I'll explain. Yang Chuan shook his head. Chimph. Meow Meow snorted and ignored him. Hallmaster Yang. This is. King Yi Mu frowned. Meow, it's not a cat. It's a tiger. Don't get it wrong, Yang Chuan said with a smile. A tiger? How is that possible? Our demon-controlling sect deals with monsters. Why haven't I seen this before? A demon-controlling sect disciple frowned. That's enough. If Hallmaster Yang says it's a tiger, then it's a tiger. King Yi Mu interrupted the disciple. Hallmaster Yang, the invitation mentioned something important and insisted on discussing it here. What is it? King Yi Mu asked in a deep voice. Today, I'm here on behalf of the Day sect to renew our alliance with the demon-controlling sect. I came alone to show my sincerity. Yang Chuan smiled. Alliance. King Yi Mu's expression changed slightly. The others in the hall also had different expressions. Yang Chuan smiled and said, after my father's death, King Mui also restrained his disciples from participating in the war between the Yang Kingdom and the Zheng Kingdom. It's obvious that he was very close to my father. That's right. King Yi Mu nodded. Chapter 364. After my father's death, King Yi restrained his disciples from participating in the war between the Yang state and Zheng state. It's clear that he had a good relationship with my father. Yang Chuan smiled. That's right. King Yi nodded. The Day sect and the demon-controlling sect used to be allies, right? Yang Chuan took a sip of wine and asked. The hall fell silent. Yes, they used to be allies. King Yi nodded. The Triu sect, Life League, and Four Sects Alliance have 20 Divine Realm experts. If the Day sect and the demon-controlling sect didn't form an alliance, they would have kicked us out of the Carefree City a long time ago. Yang Chuan nodded. Not necessarily. King Yi said solemnly. Yang Chuan didn't refute. He continued, the Day sect and the demon-controlling sect formed an alliance when my father was besieged by hundreds of sects, right? At that time, the demon-controlling sect turned a blind eye and allowed my parents to die in the Day sect, right? Chimph, how could we have helped back then? If we had interfered, our demon-controlling sect would have been annihilated. A divine realm old man on the opposite side shouted. Yang Chuan shook his head and said, I'm not blaming the demon-controlling sect. I'm here today to form an alliance with the demon-controlling sect. Alliance? Is there a need to form an alliance now? King Yi said calmly. King Yi, how strong is your demon-controlling sect in the Carefree City? Yang Chuan smiled. King Yi stared at Yang Chuan in silence. It's the same if you don't say it. Your demon-controlling sect is the weakest in the Carefree City, and you're the first to be kicked out. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Kicked out? King Yi's face darkened. Let me put it this way. The Triu sect was involved in the battle that killed my father. Therefore, I'm going to uproot the Triu sect when I enter the Carefree City. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Uproot the Triu sect? What a joke. You. The deity realm expert sneered. Wasn't the Life Alliance uprooted by me? Yang Chuan smiled. Hey. Yang Chuan choked on his words. Did the Day sect agree? King Yi asked in a deep voice. If the Day sect doesn't agree, I won't come to you. The battle of life and death between the Day sect and the Sanyu sect is imminent. Today, we formed an alliance with the Imperial Demon sect because we want the Imperial Demon sect to express their attitude. Yang Chuan's expression gradually turned serious. The atmosphere in the hall immediately became tense. The demon-controlling sect has no intention of interfering in the battle between the four sects. King Yi Mu said in a deep voice. Don't interfere. How could it be that easy? Either we form an alliance, or I'll uproot your demon-controlling sect before the final battle with Triu Sec. Yang Chuan glared. Hoo. The Xiozha on the other side all stood up with angry eyes. Is Yang Chuan here to force us to abdicate? Yang Chuan, how dare you? The demon-controlling sect is not a place for you to do as you please, an immortal state elder shouted. So what if you killed 6 elite state cultivators? So what if you killed a few hundred chi state cultivators? You are just an elite state cultivator. I can kill you anytime I want to, another immortal state elder shouted. Yang Chuan, do you want to force me to kill you? King Yi Mu said coldly. The 3 immortal state warriors released their killing intent at the same time. Meow. Meow put down the spirit stone in its mouth and looked at the hall in confusion. Yang Chuan didn't feel uncomfortable at all. He slowly put down the cup and pulled the rope on his back. Bang! The Jade Emperor's sword suddenly loosened from his grip and flew out. Heh! The faces of the sect masters changed. However, the Jade Emperor's sword wasn't fast. It spun twice in the air and then fell to the ground. Chapter 365. Boom. The Jade Emperor's sword was thrust into the center of the hall. The 3 immortal state warriors narrowed their eyes. The name of the sword is Jade Emperor. It killed all the immortal state warriors of the Life Moon Alliance. Yang Chuan said lightly. Wow. The group of Chi Realm Masters were shocked. All the immortal state warriors of the Life Moon Alliance. All of them were killed by Yang Chuan? Immortal state warriors? How was that possible? Everyone looked at Yang Chuan in disbelief. Although many people didn't want to admit it, they had to admit that 3 of them were killed by Yang Chuan because many people had seen it with their own eyes. Many people said that Yang Chuan had cheated, so they didn't want to admit it. What about the other 2? Were they killed by Yang Chuan? The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to have cut off the arrogance of the overlords in the hall. The Jade Emperor's sword seemed to have cut off the momentum of the overlords in the hall. The overlords' Chi Realm warriors were instantly cut off by the Jade Emperor's sword. King Yi's eyelids twitched violently. The overlords of the Day sect are outside the demon-controlling sect. My army of 40,000 is on its way here. King Yi, believe it or not, I will raise the demon-controlling sect to the ground today. Erased from the world? Yang Chuan's gaze turned cold. You. The overlords in the hall looked at Yang Chuan in horror. Raise the demon-controlling sect to the ground today? Raise the world? At this moment, King Yi finally understood why Yang Chuan had come to visit the demon-controlling sect. He was forcing them to abdicate. Although he knew that Yang Chuan didn't come with good intentions, he didn't expect him to be so ruthless. King Yi clenched his fists. The atmosphere in the hall was extremely tense. After taking a deep breath, Yang Chuan shook his head and said, Of course, I came to the demon-controlling sect today with sincerity. Everyone, please take a seat. Humph. The overlord snorted and sat down slowly. King Mui, I'm sure you're well aware that the Day sect's only enemy is the Triu sect. We used to be allies with the demon-controlling sect. There's no grudge between us, Yang Chuan said. This time, everyone listened to Yang Chuan's words. You should know how dangerous the battle between the Day sect and the Triu sect will be. I don't want to add the uncertainty of the demon-controlling sect to the already dangerous situation. Therefore, today's matter must be resolved. Yang Chuan said solemnly. If we don't form an alliance, you'll destroy my demon-controlling sect. King Yi Mu asked with a dark expression. Yang Chuan said in a low voice, King Mui, you should be able to sense my attitude. I didn't choose to subdue your demon-controlling sect, and that's already my bottom line. Of course, there are benefits to forming an alliance. Once I destroy the Triu sect, I can give you another 10th of Carefree City's property. Furthermore, I promise that as long as the demon-controlling sect doesn't provoke the Day sect will not do anything to you. You promise? What do you have to promise? A divine realm old man shouted. My words are my promise. I can write it to you right now, Yang Chuan said with a smile. The divine realm old man's expression turned serious. Most importantly, Please remember that without the Day sect, the demon-controlling sect will be the first to disappear from Carefree City. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. King Yi Mu's expression changed. Ha 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 ha, Yang Chuan? Like father, like son. I've finally seen it for myself. I also deeply regretted Yang Dao's death back then. To be honest, it has been my wish all these years to form a new alliance. Since we've talked about it, then let's form an alliance, King Yi Mu suddenly said with a smile. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. In front of the demon-controlling sect. King Yi Mu and the others watched Yang Chuan leave with gloomy expressions. Bastard, how dare you force the demon-controlling sect to submit to you? A divine realm old man said coldly. Chapter 366. It's not a vassal, it's an alliance. The Day sect won't interfere with any of our decisions. An immortal state warrior frowned. But I just can't let it go. Then why didn't you say so earlier? I was waiting for the sect leader. The two immortal state warriors looked at King Yi. Liu Gang. King Yi called out. Yes. Liu Gang stepped forward. What do you think? King Yi asked in a low voice. Yes. Master, you pretended to agree with Yang Chuan, but I could tell. Liu Gang said respectfully. Oh. The disciples around him frowned. That's right. You promised Yang Chuan that you wouldn't do anything. Let them fight to the death and watch the tigers fight, the immortal state warrior said with a smile. No, we can't do that. Liu Gang shook his head. Why can't we do that? The old man raised an eyebrow. The premise of watching the tigers fight is that the tigers don't know about your existence. Now that the two tigers know about our existence, we can't just sit back and watch. Otherwise, the two tigers will attack our Day sect at the same time. Yang Chuan might be exaggerating when he said that he could flatten the Day sect today, but if the four sects attack at the same time, we won't be able to do anything, Liu Gang said in a low voice. Everyone tensed up. Master, I can tell that Yang Chuan knew that you pretended to agree with him, but he still signed the alliance agreement with you. If we deal with the alliance agreement properly, it will be fatal to our sect. Liu Gang said in a low voice. What's so fatal about the alliance agreement? Someone next to him asked in disbelief. If we don't follow the agreement, Yang Chuan will spread the news of the agreement to the Sanyu sect and arouse their suspicions. If the Sanyu sect encircles us, Yang Chuan will just sit back and watch the tigers fight. Moreover, even if we join the Sanyu sect alliance, the Sanyu sect won't completely trust us because the agreement was signed before joining the Sanyu sect alliance. In this way, when the Day sect and the Sanyu sect fight, we will only be used as cannon fodder and be the first to be betrayed. Therefore, the alliance that Yang Chuan signed is extremely sinister, Liu Gang said in a low voice. What? Why didn't you say so earlier? Dan Qingzi immediately shouted. Everyone looked at Liu Gang angrily. Liu Gang took a deep breath and said, Master, actually, this disciple thinks that we can form an alliance. Because in the worry-free city, even if they don't fight, the next one to be ostracized would be my demon-controlling sect. Because the balance has been broken, there will definitely be more and more conspiracies and collisions below. King Wild sighed. Yang Dao's son is much more powerful than Yang Dao back in the day, King Wild said in a deep voice. Does that mean you agree, Master? Liu Gang's face lit up with joy. Sigh, the demon-controlling sect's foundation is still too weak. I don't know if it's the right thing to form an alliance with the Day sect. Is the Day sect still qualified to clash with the Triu sect? King Wild said worriedly. Just as King Wild was worrying. Rumble. Outside the demon-controlling sect, the sky was suddenly filled with rolling tribulation clouds, accompanied by the sound of thunder. A vast heavenly might pressed down. Countless demon beasts of the demon-controlling sect prostrated themselves on the ground in fear. The disciples were even more shocked. Heavenly retribution? The heavenly retribution that day in Worry-Free City? What's that? Yang Chuan? Yang Chuan is over there. Yang Chuan led them here. Everyone looked into the distance in shock. Yang Chuan? How did Yang Dao give birth to this son? A bitter smile appeared on King Wild's face. Chapter 367. Meow. In the forest, meows soared into the sky. Hooligan, my throat is smoking. Stop combing, meow. Meow shouted angrily. Zizi blushed as she snatched the comb from Yang Chuan's hand and stood aside. Meow. Rumble. The tribulation clouds slowly retreated. Meow, the tigers in the Imperial Monster Sect listened to you? Yang Chuan asked curiously. Of course. I am the king of tigers. All the tigers have to worship me as their boss. Meow said proudly. Aren't you afraid that they will swallow you and refine your blood to upgrade their own? Yang Chuan smiled. Hey, that's true. It seems quite dangerous. Meow's expression changed. Be careful next time. But don't worry, I will find many tigers to listen to you. Yang Chuan smiled. Meow, you are a good person. Meow immediately jumped onto Yang Chuan's shoulder to please him. Fut. Zizi was amused by Meow. Liu Jin and Feng Tairan quickly came over from afar. Tribulation? Zizi, you are really, really, really powerful. Feng Tairan said with a complicated expression. How terrifying was the tribulation clouds just now? Liu Jin might not have any idea about it, but Feng Tairan understood that even an ordinary emptiness realm expert would definitely be finished by the tribulation clouds, let alone him. Feng Tairan looked at Zizi in shock and immediately chose to stay away. Your Majesty, is everything settled? Liu Jin immediately stepped forward and asked. Yang Chuan held a golden scroll in his hand and said with a smile, with the signatures of 3 immortal realm experts from the Imperial Monster Sect, everything is settled. Let me see. Feng Tairan took the scroll and looked at it. Alliance. Is this thing useful? Feng Tairan frowned. I'm sure King Yi Mu is still hesitating. Let's just wait and see. He'll come to us in a few days. Besides, thanks to Purplish and Meow Meow, King Yi Mu won't be able to figure out who we really are. Everything is settled now, Yang Chuan said in satisfaction. Really? Feng Tairan was a little surprised. Don't worry. Everything is settled. Next, we will deal with the Triple Serenity Sect. Yang Chuan said with a smile. All right, I will stay and help you. Feng Tairan said. Carefree City Upper Serene Hall. The sect master of the High Sect looked. How's it going? Sect Master Shangyo asked. Father, the businesses that the Life Moon Alliance's disciples were originally in charge of have already been taken over by us. As long as we take care of all these businesses, we'll be able to take over half of the Life Moon Alliance's businesses even if we divide them evenly. Moreover, no one can say anything. A man said with a smile. Shongyan, you've grown up. The sect master smiled. It's all thanks to Father's teachings. The man said respectfully. However, Father, the sect master and the city lord have sent people to urge us. They want to know when we will distribute the Life Alliance's assets. Shongyan asked. Chemph, they can't wait anymore. It's fine if Yang Chuan and King Yi are here. But what are they here for? It's not like we won't give them the assets. The sect master said. Father, how much should we give them? Shongyan frowned. The sect master was in a difficult position. He thought for a while and said, we'll talk about it when the time comes. Yes. Carefree City, King of Hell's Palace. Chapter 368. Yang Chuan, Liu Jin, King Yi Mu, and Feng Tairan were all gathered together. King Yi Mu, you'll be busy from now on, Yang Chuan said with a smile. Since we've agreed to form an alliance, it's my duty to do so. But what exactly are we going to do? King Yi Mu smiled. The first step is to divide the Triyu sect. Yang Chuan said with certainty. Divide. Use the Life Alliance's assets. King Yi Mu asked curiously. That's right. It's been almost 10 months. The Life Alliance's assets are almost fully digested. Yang Chuan said with a smile. That's right. The High Serenity sect is too greedy this time. I can feel the sect master and the city lord's resentment. Feng Tairan nodded. That's right. Now, we need the sect master of the High Serenity sect to spit out this piece of meat. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Spit it out? How? How can it be spat out after swallowing it? King Yi Mu was shocked. I want him to spit it out when he can't, Yang Chuan said with a cold smile. High Serenity Palace. The High Serenity Sect Master, Shong Wuji, frowned as he looked at the messenger in front of him. Hall Master Shong, the City Lord has called for a meeting between the 5 palaces. He wants you to go now, the messenger said respectfully. Now? A meeting between the 5 palaces? Why didn't I know about it before? Shong Wuji asked in a low voice. I don't know. The messenger shook his head. Understood. I'll go now. At the same time, in the City Lord's mansion. Just like 10 months ago, all the Hall Masters gathered again. However, the High Serenity Sect's people were not here yet. Yang Chuan took a deep breath and said, City Lord, Hall Master Shong has been embezzling the Life Alliance's assets. I implore the City Lord to uphold justice. Yes, Shong Wuji has gone too far this time, the High Serenity Sect Master said with a frown. Zheng Hong looked at Yang Chuan and sneered, then what do you think we should do? In order to prevent the 4 sects from suffering any more losses, I implore the City Lord to personally take over the Life Alliance's assets in the name of the Central Serenity Sect. Yang Chuan said seriously. Oh! Zheng Hong was slightly surprised. At the side, King Yimu nodded and said, the City Lord is a person of virtue and prestige. I also believe that the City Lord will give us a fair distribution. Zheng Hong frowned slightly. Sect Master Xia Yu also looked at Zheng Hong, as if he wanted Zheng Hong to agree. Yang Chuan opened his mouth again. I've checked. 70% of the Life Alliance's assets have been quietly taken over by the High Nether Sect. If the City Lord doesn't take action, we will have nothing left. City Lord, for everyone's sake, you have to work hard. That's right, City Lord. At most, you can give us 30%. How much can we get? So what if he had a good relationship with the High Serenity Sect? This property is related to the strength of the sect. Sect Master Xia Yu also advised. Zheng Hong looked at the people in the hall. Seeing that everyone was in favor of the Central Nether Sect's allocation, Zheng Hong was very happy. However, his face was heavy as he said, since everyone has agreed, then fine. The Lord of Shangyo Palace has arrived. Someone called out from outside the palace. Shong Wuji quickly walked into the hall. City Lord, everyone? What's the matter today? Shong Wuji asked. At this moment, Yang Chuan was silent. He even had a heavy expression on his face. Just now, Yang Chuan agreed to give the Life Alliance's assets to the City Lord. Brother Shong, you can withdraw your men, Sect Master Xia Yu said. What? Shong Wuji's face changed. Yang Chuan, is what you said true? Shong Wuji said coldly. Chapter 369. Yang Chuan looked at Shong Wuji and smiled bitterly. That's right. I think it's better for the City Lord to do the distribution. Me. Shong Wuji snorted coldly at Yang Chuan and ignored him. City Lord, what's going on? Why are you interfering? Shong Wuji shouted angrily. What do you mean by interfering? What's wrong with that? Isn't the High Serenity Sect doing this for the sake of fairness? Isn't it the same for everyone? Sect Master Xiao said sarcastically. Mph, I didn't ask you. Shong Wuji snorted coldly. Shong Wuji turned to Zheng Hong and asked, City Lord, why are you doing this? Zheng Hong sighed, it's not my idea. It's everyone's idea. If you don't believe me, you can ask them. Shong Wuji looked at the crowd. Yang Chuan nodded, King Yimu nodded, Sect Master Xiao nodded, and Zheng Hong nodded. In an instant, Shong Wuji felt like he was being isolated. Anger burned in his heart. Shong Wuji, it's all the same whether you or I get the distribution, isn't it? Zheng Hong said. Shong Wuji understood Zheng Hong's hint. He was saying that if the Triyu sect were to form an alliance, they would still benefit more. However, how could they benefit more than themselves? Shong Wuji's face was gloomy. Seeing that everyone agreed, Shong Wuji could only say helplessly, yes, I'll listen to the City Lord. At this moment, Yang Chuan said, the High Serenity Sect's distribution speed is too slow. I don't know how long the Central Serenity Sect will take. I think that one of the sects should help the City Lord. Only then will it be fairer. Oh! Everyone looked at Yang Chuan. Yang Chuan thought for a moment and said, "What do you think of demon-controlling sect?" "Me? How can I do it?" King Yimu shouted. Zheng Hong looked at King Yimu and said, "That's good too. With demon-controlling sect's help, our Central Serenity sect will have an easier time. If that's the case, then Yang Chuan will wait for the good news." Yang Chuan left. King Yimu left not long after Yang Chuan left. Only Sect Master Triyu was left in the hall. Since Shang Wuji had spat out a piece of fat meat, he must have been feeling suffocated. Zheng Hong and the Shangyo sect master naturally comforted him and promised to keep a large amount of benefits for the Shangyo sect. Only then did they send Shang Wuji away when the sky turned dark. His anger had subsided. No. Seeing that he was about to spit out the fatty meat that he had swallowed, Shang Wuji's heart was filled with anxiety. On the way out, Shang Wuji had an indescribable feeling in his heart. Something's wrong. Shang Wuji's face darkened. With a slight movement, he changed his route and headed straight for King Yi's residence. King Mui's residence. King Mui, tell me, what happened in the Ashoka Hall before I came here? Shang Wuji asked. It's nothing. King Wild shook his head. But his eyes flickered. King Yi Mui, my High Serenity sect and your demon-controlling sect are good friends. I left you a portion of the Western Agarwood last time. I only want one thing, and I won't say that you told me. You have to tell me. Shang Wuji said expectantly. King Yi's expression changed as he looked at Shang Wuji. In the end, he let out a soft sigh and said, "Sigh. What's going on? Why did Yang Chuan change his mind? Why did he let Zheng Hong split the spoils? Yang Chuan? He might be known as the blood demon in the Demon Wind mountain range, but you and I both saw clearly that he was only in the essence realm. He's nothing in front of us," King Mui said in a deep voice. That's right. So what if Yang Chuan has 40,000 soldiers? There's no news of him in the Demon Wind mountain range now. Maybe that Hu Guang ran away with his army. What's Yang Chuan to him? Yeah. Actually, it was the city lord and sect master Shangyo who invited me and Yang Chuan to the Ashoka Hall first. Then, they forced Yang Chuan to agree, King Mui said. I felt uncomfortable when I looked at Yang Chuan back then, so it was Zheng Hong who forced him? Shang Wuji's expression changed. Zheng Hong? He even schemed against me? Shang Wuji's heart burned with anger. King Mui sneered and said, that's nothing. As long as we swallow the Life Alliance's assets, our sect's strength will increase by more than half, if not twice as much. In a dozen years, as long as we have double the number of Immortal Realm disciples, anything will be worth it. Ah, Zheng Hong. Shang Wuji's eyes turned red. Chapter 370. Ah, Zheng Hong. Shang Wuji's eyes turned red. Zheng Hong was already burning with anger. Now that King Yimu had provoked him, his anger surged. Brother Shang, let's just forget about it. You've already agreed to it. If you go back on your words now, you'll become a target for everyone, King Yimu said. No, I can't take this lying down, Shang Wuji said with a gloomy face. Sigh. King Yimu sighed. Wait, why? Yang Chuan wants us to split the spoils? There's still room for the Central Serenity sect to distribute. Shang Wuji's mind suddenly became clear. HMPH, can't you tell? King Yi sneered. Oh. There are 4 peaks in the Day sect. Yang Chuan is the peak master of the Heaven Peak. Now that Hu Guang has escaped with his army of 40,000, Yang Chuan is all alone. What power does he have in the Day sect? Won't the other 3 peaks ostracize him? Why would he fight for the Day sect? King Yimu sneered. Then why? He's fighting for himself. He must have waited for you to distribute the spoils, and then he would give the spoils to Miss Z. The Day sect won't get anything from him. Instead of letting the Day sect get involved, he might as well let you distribute the spoils, King Yimu explained. That's right. Shang Wuji's doubts disappeared. Sigh, Brother Shang, just accept your fate. However, the Triyu sect is on good terms. The mayor will definitely give you more than me, King Yimu advised. No, I can't accept it. Why should I? Why should I fight with me? Shang Wuji's eyes were bloodshot. Actually, sigh. King Yi Mu, you have a plan? Shang Wuji's eyes lit up. Actually, it's nothing. Just pretend I didn't say anything. No, please tell me clearly. I will definitely repay you generously. Shang Wuji said sincerely. Yes. To be honest, the most important thing is still Yang Chuan. Even though Yang Chuan doesn't have the ability to fight for this property, he has the right to control the property of the Life Moon Alliance in name. As long as Yang Chuan agrees with Brother Shang's decision, Brother Shang will have the moral high ground. Not even the city lord can do anything about it. King Yi Mu said. That's right, that's right. As long as Yang Chuan agrees. Oh right, you too, King Mui. If I manage to convince Yang Chuan, you have to help me. Don't worry, I will definitely give you more, Shang Wuji said. King Yi pondered for a moment before nodding in the end. Carefree City, Purple Heart Villa, Yang Chuan, King Mui, Liu Jin, and Feng Tairan sat at the stone table in the Purple Court. Zhujian Sheng was standing not far away. Senior uncle, Zhujian Sheng has come to visit again. He wishes to see you. Zhujian Sheng said with a smile. I won't see him. Yang Chuan shook his head and smiled. I've already sent him away. Zhujian Sheng smiled proudly. You really won't see him? King Mui asked curiously. I will, but it's not the time yet. Yang Chuan smiled. I'm starting to feel lucky about my decision back then. King Mui smiled bitterly. Oh. King Mui shook his head and didn't say anything. Then what should we do next? King Mui asked. The second step is to accumulate resentment. Yang Chuan said in a deep voice. Resentment? King Mui asked curiously. That day, I asked your demon-controlling sect to assist the Central Serenity sect just for today. Zheng Hong must have asked your demon-controlling sect to participate in the disguise of justice. However, this is for the best. Your demon-controlling sect can create resentment for them, Yang Chuan said solemnly. What should we do? The Central Serenity sect has swallowed so many properties of the Life League. It won't be easy for them to spit them out. When the disciples of the Central Serenity sect go to ask for them back, there will definitely be a dispute. You just need to pick some smart disciples to go and make the dispute bigger, Yang Chuan smiled. Chapter 371. Oh, make a big fuss. His fanning the flames from the sidelines, turning a small quarrel into a big fight. Yang Chuan said with certainty. Millimeter. King Yi nodded. Don't worry, the show is about to begin. Yang Chuan smiled. Carefree City, a bustling market. In a huge restaurant. The atmosphere in the restaurant was heavy. A large number of practitioners surrounded the restaurant. In the main hall of the restaurant, two parties were confronting each other. Central Serenity sect. Page. What are you doing here? This is the property of my High Serenity sect. The leader of one party, a black-clothed man, shouted. The other party was full of red-clothed men. Among the red-clothed men, stood Liu Gang of the demon-controlling sect. Liu Gang was like a foil, watching from the side. Bastard, what property of your High Serenity sect? This clearly belongs to the Life Alliance, you guys forcefully bought it at a low price a few months ago. The red-clothed leader shouted. Buying it means it's ours. The black-clothed leader shouted. Under the orders of the city lord, all of your High Serenity sect members are to withdraw from this area and come back after our investigation. The property that you guys embezzled before will be nullified. Bastard, without the orders of the sect leader, we can't leave. The two parties were yelling at each other. All of them were fuming with anger. At this moment, Liu Gang, who was standing in the corner, said, The city lord's face is not something you bunch of bastards can casually hit. Who, damn it, who is scolding me? The black-clothed leader rushed over. Hitting people? Bastard. Another voice shouted. Damn it. Hit. The restaurant was suddenly in chaos. The practitioners fought crazily. In an instant, the restaurant was damaged by the powerful sword energy. Boom. 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 No matter how sturdy the restaurant was, it could not withstand the torment of a group of practitioners. In the blink of an eye, the restaurant collapsed, and the battle became even more chaotic. High Serenity Palace. Father, Yang Chuan still refuses to see you. Sean frowned. What bullshit blood demon, scared by Zheng Hong? Shang Wuji said with an ugly expression. Then what should we do? Sean said worriedly. Let's meet again. Shang Wuji said solemnly. Yes. Just as the father and son were talking, the sound of Jiaohu came from outside the hall. Sect Master, not good. A High Serenity sect disciple said in panic. What's wrong? Shang Wuji asked solemnly. The people of the Central Serenity sect chased our disciples away and beat them up. 10 of them had their legs broken, and one of them died on the way back. What? Shang Wuji's face changed. It's really tragic. Sect leader, you should go take a look. Shang Wuji quickly ran over. In a large hall, 10 disciples who had their legs chopped off cried as they looked at Shang Wuji. Sect head, you have to seek justice for us. Father, is Zheng Hong going to exterminate us? Shang Yan said with an ugly expression. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Shang Wuji soared into the skies, flying towards the City Lord Manor. He landed in Ashoka Hall. Shang Wuji, what do you mean? Why did you instigate your disciples to injure my Central Serenity sect's disciples? Zheng Hong asked in a low voice. I instigated it. Shang Wuji choked, his face turning red with anger. The two of them glared at each other. Sigh, the two of you, what are you doing? What are you doing? The High Serenity sect master immediately tried to persuade them. My disciples were injured by his men, Shang Wuji shouted. Chapter 372. Your disciple. Page. My disciple also said that your disciple attacked first. Also, why did your disciple stay there and not leave? Zheng Hong shouted. Leave. My High Serenity sect has to leave when the Central Serenity sect is here. Shang Wuji said coldly. Shang Wuji, Zheng Hong, calm down. How big of a deal is this? Is there a need for this? The sect master shouted. The sect master of the High Serenity sect had noticed the unusual relationship between the two sects, so he kept trying to be the mediator. Shang Wuji flew away. However, Shang Wuji was still holding back his anger. City Lord, I think we should be careful. I have a feeling that this is Yang Chuan's scheme, the sect master of the High Serenity sect advised. I feel it too. I will be careful. Zheng Hong nodded. Purple Heart Villa. Liu Jin reported to Yang Chuan. My king, it has been more than a month. There have been a total of 12 conflicts between the High Serenity sect and the Central Serenity sect. Both sides have lost 50 disciples and 10 have died. Liu Jin reported. This resentment has already accumulated. King Yi Mu said with a smile. It's not enough. These are all low-level disciples. Even if they have resentment, it's not enough. However, you guys have done well this time. You actually managed to kill 10 people for you. Yang Chuan laughed. It's my disciple, Liu Gang. That kid is more ruthless. King Yi Mu laughed. Liu Gang. King Yi Mu nodded. Yeah, Liu Gang was the one who secretly dealt the finishing blow to the 10 people who died. The fire has already started. It's time to turn against each other. Yang Chuan smiled faintly. Oh. The third step is to become sworn enemies. Next, it's up to you. My Day sect and even I will do our best to cooperate with you. Yang Chuan said confidently. Sworn enemies. The Triyu sect is about to be removed. Soon. Yang Chuan said indifferently. Upper Silent Hall. Shang Wuji frowned as he paced back and forth in the hall. Over the past month, Shang Wuji's hair had turned a few strands white. The conflict between the Central and High Serenity sects made Shang Wuji feel like he had been schemed against. What's going on? Who is scheming against me? There must be some conspiracy. Shang Wuji was extremely frustrated. Report. A disciple rushed into the main hall. What's the matter? Shang Wuji shouted irritably. Master, there's news from the King of Hell's palace. Oh. One of our disciples barged into the King of Hell's palace and saw Yang Chuan who had just returned. He also reported to Master about your urgency. That Yang Chuan agreed. Agree. Shang Wuji's eyes lit up. Yes, he said that tomorrow afternoon, he would like to invite Master to the King of Hell's palace for a while. The disciple replied. Good, good. Shang Wuji finally encountered something that went smoothly. On the afternoon of the second day, Shang Wuji brought 2 disciples and hurried to King of Hell's palace. Yang Chuan was waiting outside King of Hell's palace. Hall Master Shang, King of Hell's palace is simple and crude, please don't blame me. Yang Chuan smiled. It's nothing, it's nothing. Shang Wuji immediately replied politely. Hall Master Shang has looked for me many times. I have matters to attend to outside, I'm very sorry. No worries. Please, I have prepared Day Sect's wine. If Hall Master Shang doesn't mind, please comment on it. Yang Chuan smiled. Chapter 373. Carefree City, in a forest. On a small hill surrounded by white fog, there were 14 figures. Feng Tairan was the leader, and behind him were the 3 peak masters of the Day Sect, Duan Sanshu, and some new faces. Sect leader, why did you summon us back in such a hurry? Is it so that the immortal state experts of the Day Sect and the Imperial Demon Sect can assassinate a group of Qi and Essence state experts? One of the new faces asked. Yeah, this is too. Another man said with an ugly expression. Assassinate a group of Qi state experts? Hehe, you guys came back late, so there are many things you don't know. There are 8 immortal state experts outside, and 6 of you are back. But that's it, we must do our best. Feng Tairan said. Sect leader Feng, don't worry, the Imperial Demon Sect will do our best. The 3 Imperial Demon Sect experts said. Millimeter. Feng Tairan nodded. Sect leader, is everything ready? Duan Sanshu asked. Yes, Yang Chuan has invited Shang Wuji to the King of Hell's palace. Next, we will demonize Shang Wuji. Feng Tairan smiled. Demonize? Just wait, Shang Wuji will soon become a lunatic. Feng Tairan sneered. Then who are we going to kill? Mo Wu Hui asked curiously. Mainly these 2, Shang Dashan and Shang Yen. Feng Tairan smiled. Shang Yen? Shang Wuji's son, a Qi state expert. Shang Dashan? Shang Wuji's brother, one of the 5 immortal state experts of the Shangyu sect. Mo Wu Hui frowned. Yes, Shangyu sect and Central Yu sect have been fighting for 2 months, and nearly 100 people have died. Shang Wuji finally summoned his brother Shang Dashan to the city. This is a key person, and we have been waiting for him for almost a year. When the time comes, we will attack together and not let him escape. Feng Tairan said. Don't worry, we have 14 immortal state experts. How can we stop him? Duan Sanshu smiled. The 14 immortal state experts were hiding in a small valley far away. Nearly 50 people from the 2 forces were confronting each other. One side was black, the other side was red. Bastards, you must get out of here today. The leader shouted. Liu Gang and Dan Qingzi were cheering from the side amongst the red-clothed leaders. This is my Shang Yu sect's territory. Scram. The black-clothed leader shouted coldly. HMPH, get lost. Do you think we're dogs? You want us to scram? Liu Gang fanned the flames. Bastard, it's been 2 months, and you've killed 10 of our fellow disciples. You bastards, I'll fight you to the death. Dan Qingzi shouted from within the crowd. Roar. Boom. You're courting death. Boom. For a time, the 2 forces clashed violently again. They unsheathed their swords and took out their magic treasures. For a moment, the sounds of battle in the valley rang out incessantly. Strong winds blew, and sand and stones flew. A new round of great conflict had begun. Amidst the chaotic conflict, screams of agony could be heard. He injured senior brother Ma. Avenge senior brother Ma. 6th junior brother. He crippled 6th junior brother. Beat him up. Beat him up. The battle was extremely chaotic. Nearly 100 people in the Qi and Essence realms were fighting against each other. At this moment, 7 or 8 people walked out from the depths of the valley. The leader was a white-haired old man with bright eyes. Beside him stood Shang Yen, the son of Shang Wuji, second uncle, They're fighting again. Shang Yen smiled bitterly. We can't keep dragging this out. The white-haired old man, Shang Dashan, said. As long as father sees Yang Chuan, everything will be solved. However, the Zhongyu sect may know that the situation is urgent, so they are forcing us. Shang Yen smiled bitterly. Chapter 374. Shang Dashan snorted. With a cold snort, a loud voice rushed into the chaotic crowd of cultivators. The cultivators paused. There were 7 or 8 heavily injured people on the ground. Bastards, who gave you the guts to cause trouble in my High Nether sect's territory? Shang Dashan snorted. One of the men on the ground said viciously, This isn't your High Nether sect's territory. It's my Central Nether sect. Shang Dashan's expression turned cold as he waved his hand. Boom. The man who was already seriously injured coughed up blood and was sent flying. His injuries worsened. Impudent. Shang Dashan said coldly. So it's Senior Shang Dashan. The High Nether sect master personally agreed to give up this place. Why haven't you left yet? Another Central Nether sect disciple stepped forward. Who are you? Shang Dashan angrily rebuked the Central Nether sect disciples. While no one was paying attention, Liu Gang and Dan Qingzi took the disciples who had been injured by Shang Dashan and left the crowd. Liu Gang entered the forest, while Dan Qingzi brought the unconscious Central Nether sect disciple through the forest, heading for the Carefree Palace. Within Carefree Hall, King Yi Mu was chatting with Zhang Hong. The two were chatting happily. Suddenly, Dan Qingzi rushed into the hall with an injured disciple. Master, bad news. Dan Qingzi anxiously rushed into the hall. Bastard, don't you know where this is? Did you barge in? King Yi Mu said coldly. Master, City Lord, the High Nether sect's Shang Dashan attacked. He disregarded the relationship between the 5 sects and injured a Central Nether sect disciple. He was injured by Shang Dashan. If we don't save him now, he won't be saved. Dan Qingzi said anxiously. What? Impossible. Zheng Hong's expression changed. He quickly stepped forward. When he saw the unconscious Central Nether sect disciple, his expression darkened. He pushed the unconscious disciple. Buzz. That person slowly woke up. When he woke up, he saw Zheng Hong. Martial uncle, Shang Dashan attacked. This disciple has embarrassed the Central Nether sect, that person said sorrowfully. Shang Dashan? Is it really Shang Dashan? Zheng Hong's expression darkened. City Lord, please save him. Dan Qingzi said anxiously. He won't die. Take me to Shang Dashan. I would like to see how a immortal state cultivator like him dares to attack a chi state cultivator, Zheng Hong said with an ugly face. Dan Qingzi, Zheng Hong, and King Wild quickly flew towards the valley. Boom. There was a loud bang. The disciples of the Central Serenity sect all retreated. Many of them had been injured by a huge force. Ch, I'm teaching you on behalf of Zheng Hong. How rude. Shang Dashan said coldly. The disciples of the High Nether sect all felt proud and elated. Ch, educate her on my behalf. Shang Dashan, what qualifications do you have to educate him on my behalf? An angry roar came from the void. Zheng Hong, King Mui, and Dan Qingzi descended from the sky. Greetings, Master. Greetings, Martial Uncle. Greetings, Grandmaster. The sound of the Middle Nether sect disciples filled the air with wild joy. Boom. The 3 landed in front of Shang Dashan. Zheng Hong, don't go overboard. Shang Dashan said coldly. I'm going overboard. It's you who went overboard, right? Zheng Hong said in a cold voice. Shang Dashan, apologize to the City Lord. After all, you were the one who attacked first. King Mui advised. Why don't you apologize? P2E, don't even think about it. Even a clay figurine has a temper. You bunch of disgraceful disciples, how dare you disobey this old man? You have no respect for your elders. Given this old man's temperament back then, I would have died countless times already. Shang Dashan, the City Lord is the City Lord, the ruler of the Carefree City. Your actions today are a provocation to the City Lord. How do you expect the City Lord to respect the people in the future? Do you think the city lord is a junior of the high nether sect that you can insult as you wish? King Mui continued to provoke. Zheng Hong's face darkened. Shong das Han? Mh, bullying the weak because you're strong, but you picked the wrong person. You're strong. I'll play with you. With that, Zheng Hong sent a palm strike towards Shong das Han. With this palm strike, all the fire chi that he had accumulated over the past 2 months was unleashed. Boom. Zheng Hong and Shong Dashan's palms collided. Shong das Han didn't expect Zheng Hong to attack just like that. His eyes flashed with surprise. Both Shong Wuji and Zheng Hong had anger. However, they had been holding it in for the sake of the Triyu sect. Today, Shong das Han had completely ignited this anger. Zheng Hong didn't hold back at all. Under his palms, a hurricane suddenly appeared. Hong tilde 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 tilde. Shong das Han was sent flying. Ta, 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 ta. He landed on the ground and took a dozen steps before he could stabilize himself. Puff. Shong das Han looked at Zheng Hong in shock as blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth. Zheng Hong's anger dissipated after that palm strike. Looking at the heavily injured Shong das Han, he felt slightly regretful. Shong das Han, let's forget about this matter, Zheng Hong said in a deep voice. Let's go. Zheng Hong shouted to the high nether sect disciples. Yes, master. Yes, grandmaster. The disciples looked at Zheng Hong with admiration. The crowd slowly retreated. Shong das Han didn't stop them at all, leaving behind the furious high nether sect disciples. Second uncle, are you all right? Shong Yen asked with an ugly expression. Zheng Hong. I hate him. Shong das Han said in pain. Second uncle? Shong Yen asked worriedly. My inner organs were injured by that bastard Zheng Hong. I need to rest and recuperate. All of you, protect me, Shong das Han said in a deep voice. Yes. Everyone replied. Shong das Han sat cross-legged while the others focused on their surroundings. At this moment, in the forest far away, Foam Tyran squinted his eyes and said, It's about time. Leave Shong Yen to me. 4 Qi Jing, 43 Essence Jing, and the heavily injured Shong das Han, I'll leave them to you. Finish them quickly. Okay. Everyone nodded. King of Hell's Palace. In front of King of Hell's Palace, Yang Chuan and Shong Wuji sat opposite each other. There was wine on the table for the two to drink. Palace Master Yang? How is it? Do you still hold a grudge? Shong Wuji frowned. Smiling bitterly, Yang Chuan shook his head and said, Of course I remember. However, I know that my father's death wasn't because of you. It was Emperor Mo Ku. It was him. Also, the Great Winged Heaven School listened to Emperor Mo Ku. You were forced to do so. It's great that Palace Master Yang can think this way. Shong Wuji's face relaxed. But, at that time, the City Lord and High Nether Sect Master pressured me. I had no choice. Yang Chuan smiled bitterly. No, as long as you agree. Don't worry, I'll definitely give you more of your share. Shong Wuji said with certainty. Yang Chuan looked at Shong Wuji and hesitated. It was as if he was deliberately stalling for time. But to Shong Wuji, this was indeed something worth thinking about. If you have other ideas, you can tell me. Shong Wuji continued to persuade him. Chapter 375. Carefree City, Valley. Shong das Han sat cross-legged, recovering from the injuries inflicted by Zhang Hong. The disciples were extremely depressed. Sigh. Everyone sighed. Don't sigh anymore. Just focus on guarding. Protect us. Who dares to find trouble with us? Zheng Hong. He injured martial uncle. Do you think he dares to come back? Just when all the disciples were indifferent, Shong das Han suddenly opened his eyes. Not good, killing intent. Shong Dashan's face changed. Boom. Thousands of powerful sword chi burst out from all directions. Ah, 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 ah. The faces of the disciples suddenly changed, as if they were scared silly. Kai, kai, kai. Rumble. Streaks of sword chi slaughtered a group of disciples, and the surrounding mountains collapsed. The massacre of Divine Realm experts instantly killed a group of Qi and Essence Realm experts. Boom. Bastard, bastard. Shang Dashan screamed. However, as he screamed, 10 sword Qi from his peak arrived in front of him. Boom. Shang Dashan's aura exploded, and the wind blew. However, he was facing 14 Divine Realm experts. How could he stop them? No, no. Shang Dashan screamed. His body was covered with sword wounds, and his legs were cut off. Roar. Feng Tairan roared. Rumble. Kai. Kai. Shang Dashan finally fell to the ground and died. The 14 Divine Realm experts let out a long sigh. Assassination? Fortunately, Shang Dashan was heavily injured. Otherwise, Shang Dashan might have escaped. Or shouted to inform them. Feng Tairan let out a long sigh. Everyone looked at Feng Tairan. Feng Tairan made a shushing gesture, and then checked all the corpses on the ground. After confirming that they were all dead, he waved his hand in the distance. In the distance, Liu Gang brought 2 unfamiliar faces, both wearing purple robes. When they got close, Liu Gang bowed respectfully to everyone. Feng Tairan nodded and pointed at a pile of rubble not far away. Among the rubble, there was a body covered in blood, and only the feet were exposed. Shang Yan. Shang Wuji's son? Everyone immediately guessed. He's still breathing. Quick. Feng Tairan whispered. Liu Gang nodded and looked at the 2 purple-robed men beside him. HMPH, Shang Dashan? He's finally dead today, a purple-robed man said. As soon as he spoke, the group of Immortal State warriors looked at him in surprise, because the voice of the man in purple was so similar to that of Sect Master Yu. It was too similar. Although there were flaws, Shang Yan, who still had 1 breath left in the pile of stones, would definitely not be able to tell. That's right, he's dead. This is just the beginning, another purple-robed man said. Zheng Hong's voice. The Immortal State warriors looked at him in surprise. What do we do now? Sect Master Xia Yu said indifferently. Drain all of Shang Dashan's blood. Shift the blame to Yang Chuan, haha. Zheng Hong's voice laughed faintly. All right. Rumble. Feng Tairan acted and sucked out all the blood from Shang Dashan's corpse. Zheng Hong, are we just going to sit back and watch the tigers fight? The sect leader of the Underworld sect sneered. That's right, let the Underworld sect and Day sect fight to the death, then we'll instigate the demon-controlling sect and let them perish together. Ha 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 ha, this carefree city will belong to our 2 sect. Zheng Hong's voice laughed coldly. Hihi, don't you think it's not good for Shang Wuji to ally with us? Sect Master Xia Yu laughed. Chapter 376. We used to be allies. However, Carefree City's interests are too great. If we want to overthrow the Day sect, we have to make sacrifices. Why, do you have any opinions? Zheng Hong said. Opinions? Why would I? It's only right for the High Serenity sect to make sacrifices. Ha ha ha. Sect leader of the High Serenity sect said proudly. Under the shocked gazes of the Immortal State warriors, the 2 voices that Liu Gang found made up a huge lie. King of Hell's Palace. All right. I promise you that you can distribute the assets of the Life League. However, all I have to do is ask. I won't do anything. Yang Chuan sighed. Ha ha ha, thank you, Hallmaster Yang. I shall take my leave now. Shang Wuji finally got his reply. I'll send you off. Yang Chuan stood up and smiled. No need, no need. Please stay. Shang Wuji said excitedly. Bringing along his 2 disciples, Shang Wuji flew up to the sky and headed back to his residence. Not long after Shang Wuji left, Feng Tairan appeared. How was it? Yang Chuan asked. Perfect. Feng Tairan smiled. Shang Wuji flew back to the High Serenity Palace with excitement. Good, good, good. Shang Wuji's face was brimming with excitement even though he had returned. Sect leader, bad news, bad news. A disciple rushed over. What's wrong? Shang Wuji asked curiously. Almost 50 disciples of my sect were killed by Yang Chuan. Martial uncle Shang Dashan was also killed by Yang Chuan, the disciple cried. What? Impossible. I just came back from Yang Chuan's place. Shang Wuji didn't believe it at all. It's true. It's in the valley. Senior brother heard the sound and went over. They were all dead. All dead. It's Yang Chuan's doing. Martial Uncle Shang Dashan has already become a dried corpse. The disciple shouted. Bring me there, bring me there. Shang Wuji cried out. In the valley. Second brother. Shang Wuji hugged Shang Dashan's corpse and cried out. A large number of disciples stood in the valley. Day sect. Was it the Day sect? This is the sword mark of the Day sect. That's right, it's the Day sect. This is Feng Tianyu's sword mark. Also, Martial Uncle's death was caused by Yang Chuan. The High Serenity sect disciples were all furious. Outer sect disciples gathered around to watch the battle from afar. The news spread like wildfire. However, Shang Wuji didn't believe it no matter what. Because earlier, Yang Chuan was drinking with him. How could he have come to kill Shang Dashan? How could this be? Buzz, buzz, buzz. A soft sound came from the pile of rubble. Hey! Shang Wuji's face changed. Disperse everyone, disperse everyone. Shang Wuji shouted. Yes. The group of disciples quickly dispersed the onlookers. Shang Wuji stretched out his hand and lifted it up, causing the surrounding rubble to scatter, revealing a badly mutilated body underneath. Shang Yan. Shang Wuji recognized him immediately. There were more than a dozen bloody holes on Shane's body, but none of them were fatal. His blood was about to run out, and he was on his last breath. Phew. Shang Wuji waved his sleeves and carried Shang Dashan's corpse up to the sky. Soon, Shang Wuji returned to the Upper Serenity Palace. He fed his son some pills to help him recover quickly. Shang Yan slowly woke up. Father, Zheng Hong, you old bastard. Shang Yan cried out in pain. What? What do you mean? Shang Wuji asked coldly. Shang Yan told him everything he had seen and heard. Chapter 377. Central Nether Sect. Xianyu Sect. Such ruthless hearts, all of you are so ruthless. Shang Wuji said with sorrow and hatred. After second uncle was heavily injured, he said that he hated us so much. Shang Yan said with sorrow. Second brother. Shang Wuji looked at Shang Dashan's corpse and said with sorrow. A soccer hall. Shang Dashan is dead. Zheng Hong said with a pale face. Yes, my disciples saw it with their own eyes. It was Day sect's doing. The one who killed Shang Dashan was Yang Chuan, Xianyu sect master said in a low voice. He died just like that. Sigh. Zheng Hong sighed. I sent people to the vicinity of King of Hell's palace and saw Feng Tairan and Feng Tianyu. It can't be wrong this time. The Day sect actually learned how to assassinate people. Xianyu sect master said coldly. But why hasn't Shang Wuji come to discuss this with us? Zheng Hong said with a complicated expression. Xianyu sect master sighed. Maybe he's angry about the Life League's assets and wants to settle it himself. Sigh, I've gone overboard with the Life League's business. No matter what, the Triu sect is on the same side. Just in case, let's transfer some Immortal realm experts from our sects to assist Shang Wuji. Zheng Hong sighed. That's the only way. Xianyu sect master nodded. Should I go and comfort Shang Wuji? Xianyu sect master asked again. No, he didn't come to us himself. Why should we go to him? Don't worry, we'll help him when the time comes. Zheng Hong shook his head. King of Hell's palace. King Mui, Feng Tairan, and Yang Chuan sat on a stone bench. The remaining 3 Immortal state experts from the High Nether sect are all here. King Mui laughed. Zheng Hong must think that they're here for me. Yang Chuan laughed. I think so too. Ha ha ha. Feng Tairan laughed. What about Central Nether sect and Xianyu sect? Yang Chuan asked. 3 more Immortal state experts from Central Nether sect and 2 from Xianyu sect. Feng Tairan said. The third step, revenge. Success. Shang Wuji's mind had been clouded by the evil fire of the past few months. Just wait and watch the show. Yang Chuan said with a smile. You're a little too ruthless this time. King Wild smiled bitterly. If we don't do this, do you really think we'll fight head-on with the Triu sect? Yang Chuan smiled. King Yimu nodded and said, even though the difference in numbers isn't that great, we might have suffered heavy losses if we hadn't participated in this round. Isn't that enough? In this way, wouldn't it be better to reap the benefits of a fisherman's quarrel? Only a boorish man would risk his life. Yang Chuan said with a smile. Yes. Don't worry, I'll do as you say. King Wild Mu nodded. The array formation in the city can be activated at any time, Feng Tyran said. Let's wait a little longer. Once they start fighting, we'll activate it. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Liu Jin. Yang Chuan shouted to the side. Old slave is here. You can inform the First Legion now. Have Hua Guang surround the three sects' encampment. Don't show any mercy. Kill. Yang Chuan said solemnly. Yes. Feng Tianyu, Gao Bufan, Mo Wuhue, and Duan Sanshu, go and assist Hua Guang in dealing with the three immortal state experts who haven't entered Carefree City yet. Trap them. Yang Chuan looked at Feng Tyran. Don't worry, I'll tell them. Feng Tyran nodded affirmatively. Looking at the sky, Yang Chuan smiled and said, if I'm not wrong, the last battle will be tonight when the moon is high in the sky. Chapter 378. Carefree City. That night, perhaps due to the weather, Carefree City was much colder. At the same time, there was more fog than usual, but it was very subtle. If one didn't pay attention, it would be hard to notice. In front of the King of Hell's palace, Yang Chuan raised his cup to the moon. He sat at the stone table in front of the palace, overlooking the city. Liu Jin stood behind him respectfully, not saying a word. Miao lay not far away, looking at Yang Chuan and the moon in confusion, as if she had guessed something. Zizi poured a cup of wine for Yang Chuan. Tonight, you don't have to accompany me, Yang Chuan said softly. No, tonight is such a big event, I have to be by your side. Zizi shook her head. You've combed my hair twice. Although Miao managed to get rid of the divine punishment, I'm still worried that other calamities might befall you. Zizi said worriedly. I said, it's fine, I'm blessed. Yang Chuan smiled. Then, let me accompany you until dawn. Zizi bit her lips. All right. Yang Chuan smiled and nodded. Secluded palace. Shang Wuji looked at the three men in front of him. My three junior brothers, Shang Dashan's death cannot be in vain. Zheng Hong, that despicable person, killed Shang Dashan in order to destroy our secluded Shangyo. If we don't take revenge, our secluded Shangyo will never be at peace. Shang Wuji said coldly. Sect leader, tell us, what should we do? The three of them asked solemnly. He killed Shang Dashan, so we'll kill him. He framed the Day sect, so he must think that we don't know. He must not be on guard against us. So what if he's at the peak of the God realm? If the four of us attack together, he'll die instantly. Shang Wuji said coldly. Assassinate Zheng Hong? The other three were slightly surprised. That's right, Zheng Hong must die. Once that hypocrite dies, Shang Dashan's death will be avenged and our secluded Shangyo's crisis will be resolved. Why? You don't dare. Shang Wuji said coldly. We'll kill whoever sect leader kills. We await sect master's orders. The three of them immediately became spirited. All right, follow me to the Asoka Hall to assassinate Zheng Hong, Shang Wuji said coldly. Yes. Asoka Hall. Zheng Hong, sect master Xia Yu, and 5 other new faces were standing in front of King Yimu. You've also heard about Shang Dashan's matter, right? Zheng Hong sighed slightly. Yes, the Day sect actually did such a despicable thing, but then again, your Triu sect sure is close. King Yimu said in a deep voice. Oh. Zheng Hong smiled faintly. Over here, your 2 sects chose another 5 deities to enter the worry-free city. Wasn't it to assist Shang Wuji? You've all given this a lot of thought. King Yimu said with a smile. Everyone in the hall looked at each other, nodded, and smiled. That's right, the enmity between the High Nether sect and the Day sect, we can't stay out of it. Similarly, as the last sect in the Carefree City, your Imperial Demon sect can't stay out of it either. Zheng Hong said solemnly. My demon-controlling sect. King Yi's expression changed. Yeah. Inside the hall, the two sect masters tried to coerce King Yi Mu. Alright, I'll do my best. King Yi Mu sighed slightly. Rumble. Outside the Ahsoka Hall, an earth-shattering explosion suddenly rang out. Is this the Imperial Demon Sect's formation? Someone broke in. King Yi Mu's expression changed. Everyone's expression darkened as they rushed out of the hall. Chapter 379. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not far away, a strong gust of wind blew. Countless clouds swirled around the center, and more clouds gathered. At the center of the clouds, four figures could be vaguely seen. It's Shang Wuji and the others. Zheng Hong smiled. Shang Wuji, who was trapped by the Great Cloud Formation, also saw the people in front of Ashoka Hall. Rumble. The clouds suddenly became several times thicker, blocking everyone's vision in the blink of an eye. Ha 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 ha, Shang Wuji has finally spoken to us. Sect Master Xia Yu laughed. Yeah, since he's willing to speak, everything can be discussed. Zheng Hong smiled. That's right. Our four sects alliance can be destroyed in the blink of an eye even if the Day sect was at its peak. Sect Master Xia Yu said proudly. King Yi Mu, remove the formation and let them out. Zheng Hong smiled. Okay. King Yi Mu nodded. Then, he rushed into the white mist. Zheng Hong, Sect Master Xia Yu, and 7 other Immortal State warriors slowly surrounded them. Inside the Great Cloud Formation. What's going on? Sect Master, why are there so many people? Isn't Zheng Hong the only one? An Immortal State warrior's expression was extremely ugly. What should we do? How can we assassinate Zheng Hong? 7 Immortal State warriors? No, with King Yi Mu, that's 8. That's twice the number of us. Another Immortal State warrior said anxiously. Calm down, calm down. Shang Wuji's eyes were red. He couldn't calm down himself, but he wanted the other 3 to calm down. Whoosh. At this moment, King Yi Mu stepped in. Clang. Clang, everyone drew their swords and was about to attack. Wait. Shang Wuji shouted. Shang Wuji stopped everyone and looked at King Yi Mu. King Yi Mu? You're here too? Does this formation belong to your demon-controlling sect? Shang Wuji asked coldly. Brother Shang, sigh, thank goodness I used the formation to stop you. Otherwise, you'd be. King Yi Mu's expression was ugly. What? Shang Wuji's expression changed. You saw it just now too. In fact, Zheng Hong predicted that you would assassinate him tonight, so he called over the Immortal Realm experts of the Middle Nether Sect and the Lower Nether Sect. Moreover, he set up an ambush formation in the Ashoka Hall. King Wild Mu didn't continue, but it was enough for him. Treacherous bastard. Zheng Hong is a treacherous bastard. He wants to wipe out my High Serenity sect in one fell swoop. Shang Wuji said with sorrow and hatred. Why did they do that? Another Divine Realm warrior asked worriedly. I don't know either. However, I noticed that Carefree Hall was filled with murderous intent when they asked me to attack the Day sect, so I thought that it might be dangerous. That's why I informed Brother Shang in advance. I hope you don't mind. King Wild sighed softly. I won't. It's all thanks to you. I, Shang Wuji, will remember this in my heart. Shang Wuji said sincerely. I understand now. Zheng Hong found out that my son is not dead, so he probably guessed the whole story. Now that the hatred between the 3 sects has been formed, he wants to kill us. After killing us, he will ask the demon-controlling sect to help him destroy the Day sect. It's almost the same as the previous plan, but with some slight changes. Shang Wuji quickly sorted out a plan for himself. Then, what should we do, Sect Master? The 3 God Realm cultivators asked anxiously. King Yi, thank you for your reminder. Please remove the formation. Shang Wuji looked at King Yi. I'll go out first. It's a little troublesome to remove the formation. It might take a while. King Yi said. All right. Thank you. Shang Wuji said solemnly. King Wild Mu strode away. Only the 4 of them were left in the formation. Sect Master? A vicious look flashed across Shang Wuji's face. Chapter 380. Half a cup of tea later. Misty cloud array, disperse. King Yi Mu cast a spell. The misty cloud formation that trapped the 4 immortal state warriors was suddenly blown in all directions by a storm. Boom. The array dispersed in the blink of an eye. Ha ha ha, Brother Shang, how have you been? The 7 immortal state warriors laughed as they walked towards Shang Wuji and the others. Die. Kill. Roar. Give me your life. In the blurry environment where the misty cloud array had dispersed, 4 rays of sword light pierced towards them. The immortal state warriors attacked with all their might. Shang Wuji and the others were determined to die as they attacked the 7 immortal state warriors. Ah! Boom! TSK! What? Everyone exclaimed. Blood spurted into the sky as the violent sword chi exploded with infinite power. Bastard! Bastard! Boom! Zhang Hong and the others attacked and a violent gust of wind separated them. However, the square was covered in blood and internal organs were scattered all over the place. The sect master of the lower sects clutched the bloody hole in his chest as he looked at Shang Wuji and the others in shock. Shang Wuji, you. The sect master of the lower sect's eyes turned red. He was almost done for. 1 from the lower sects died, 2 from the upper sects died, and the sect master of the lower sects is severely injured. Ha ha ha, sect master, we are even now. Someone behind Shang Wuji shouted. Phew, yeah. Shang Wuji said with a hint of madness. Shang Wuji, are you crazy? You lunatic, how dare you kill 2 of my junior brothers? Zheng Hong's eyes turned red. Let's go. Shang Wuji turned around and left. Where do you think you are going? Zheng Hong roared and charged towards Shang Wuji. No one can leave. The sect master of the lower sects shouted as he clutched his chest. Boom. The 2 sides were at daggers drawn. Kill. Shang Wuji changed his tone and charged towards the crowd again. In an instant, sword light flashed and a violent gust of wind blew. It was 4 against 4, and everyone was filled with hatred as they fought against each other. Boom. Boom. The 8 Divinity Realm Masters fought against each other. For a moment, the entire worry-free city shook. The 8 immortal state warriors fought and retreated at the same time. In the blink of an eye, they were scattered in all directions. The loud explosion caused countless cultivators in worry-free city to wake up from their sleep. All of them stared blankly at the sky. Shang Wuji, you lunatic. Zheng Hong attacked Shang Wuji. Zheng Hong, you hypocrite. You should have known that this day would come. Shang Wuji waved the long sword in his hand. Awareness my ass. You lunatic. You're crazy. Zheng Hong roared. As the 2 sides fought, no one noticed that the temperature of worry-free city was slightly colder than usual, and there was also more fog in the air. King Yama's palace. Standing on the high platform, Yang Chuan looked at the light of the battle in the distance. While drinking, he revealed a satisfied smile. Feng Tairan and King Mui arrived together. Hall Master Yang, this is amazing. It's exactly as you guessed. They've gone mad. The Triyu sect has really gone mad this time, King Yi Mu said excitedly. Who has the upper hand? Yang Chuan asked with a smile. It's about the same. The sect master of the lower sects is injured, but Zheng Hong is more powerful. So, it should be about the same. The longer they fight, the better it is for us. King Mui said confidently. The formation of our Day sect has been completely activated. At this moment, Worry-Free City is completely sealed. No one can leave. No one can leave. Feng Tairan said with a smile. Good. Let's wait for the battle between the snipe and the clam. Yang Chuan took a deep breath. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.